I'm not good at it. But I'm damn good at college football. I'm damn good at the NFL. And I'm damn good at college basketball. And that's what I stick with. I stick with what I know. So you give us a call right now. We have another false favorite for free on a recorded line at 888-9-WIN-NOW. That's 888-994-6669. Make sure you check out the Bet Big, Talk Loud podcast. We had Jessica Hall on yesterday, and we'll be on tomorrow on Sports Investors Daily. Everyone out there, have a great Saturday. All right, here we go with the recap, and this one is brought to you by TakingVegas.com. And for all of you out there who think this is luck, you guys are idiots. Give us a call right now at 888-9-WIN-NOW. That's 888-994-6669. Last week, plus 195, Virginia outright. The week before, plus 205, Illinois outright winner. Guess what? We have another plus 200 going today for free on a recorded line at 888-9-WIN-NOW. That's 888-994-6669. Let's understand something. This isn't a plus 110 or plus 120 that we continue to win outright. This is plus 200. And another one goes today for free on a recorded line at 888-9-WIN-NOW. That's 888-994-6669. A $500 player is up almost $5,000 just on our free picks this radio year alone. Give us a call right now, 888-9-WIN-NOW. That's 888-994-6669. Another false favorite, plus 200 for free on a recorded line. The number, 888-994-6669.
This program was paid for by 1220 Enterprises. The opinions and views expressed are not those of local stations. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes. Use of this information in violation of any federal, state, or local laws is prohibited. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-351-4596. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-351-4596. 800-351-4596. 800-351-4596.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM and HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station and the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries. Always live on the free Odyssey app and now coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios. Live from downtown San Francisco, this is 95.7 The Game.
Oh, yes, it is. And what a Saturday morning indeed. My goodness. Sam Lubman, Dan Avone here on 95.7 The Game on the weekends. And I tell you what, I don't know, Sam, if it gets any better than this. I know you're a doom and gloom and you like the rain and the overcast, but you wake up to this sort of absolutely stunning day. The Blue Angels are in town. I'm not a big Blue Angel person. Actually, because the federal government is shut down. I don't know if you know this, Sam. We're in a lockdown, a lockout. So there will be no Blue Angels. Nevertheless,
Wait, really?
I'm so upset!
The shutdown, there's no Blue Angels this week for Fleet Week.
No.
Oh, well, that's just not right.
How are you this morning, by the way?
Well, I was good until I found out there's no Blue Angels this weekend. That kind of put a downer on things. But overall, Dan, I'm doing pretty good. It's always a good day when I get to talk sports with you.
Well, I tell you what, talk sports, and where do you want to go? We got football. We'll get into the 49ers. The Golden State Warriors in preseason is in full swing. You want to go Jonathan Kuminga, talk Warriors? We are here for you. Obviously, the flagship station. Baseball. And I think we ought to start there. I know it's not the Giants, but I know somehow you will whittle whatever it is. As long as we talk baseball, we will find some sort of an artery that'll take us back to the San Francisco
There's always
Giants.
an angle. Give me a minute, Dan. I will find that angle. But
So you know my history with Seattle, right?
I'm aware.
And so the iconic moment in Seattle was back in 1995 when Edgar Martinez went down the line and left at the old Kingdome, and Ken Griffey Jr. scored from first and sent the New York Yankees out of the playoffs. And the Seattle Mariners, whose existence was only about 20 years old as a franchise, that was the biggest sports moment in the history of Seattle sports. Superseding anything that the Sonics did or the Seattle Seahawks, it was that moment. Until maybe last night. You want to detail the fans at home what happened last night?
Yeah, so last night, Dan, that was one of the more fun winner-take-all games I've been able to see. I think it was the longest winner-take-all game in baseball history. Mariners 3-2 over the Tigers in 15. Jorge Polanco with the walk-off bases-loaded single. Do we have that call, Rizzo, or just play it when you got it? You could surprise me with it, but that was me, Dan. I'm watching that. I got home. I think I was watching from like the 9th inning on, and it seemed like every inning, I think in the 12th, 13th, and 14th innings, it seemed like Mariners had guys in scoring position. The Mariners were a base hit away from winning it. Tigers kept getting out of it until they couldn't. You had Tommy Canley come in the 15th inning and immediately gets into trouble, and this time they couldn't get that clutch double play. It was really cool watching T-Mobile Park go off like that last night.
There is just something about a Game 5 in Major League Baseball. It's not a Game 5, it's a Game 7. Just an elimination game, winner takes all. This time of the year, fall, the shadows, it's so comforting. And I think it adds to the overall setting and excitement. Chicago, the Cubs staving off elimination. It was like an English soccer match. They were standing throughout the entire game out there in Chicago. And now they set up a do or die out in Milwaukee. My man Poss, if you get an opportunity, so I talked about it because it's an iconic call. I still get chills when I hear Brent Musburger say, Griffin!
No balls and a strike to Martinez. Line drive, we are tied. Griffin is coming around, and the corner's burning. He's going to try to score. There's the division championship. Mariners win it. Mariners win it.
And then, of course, what happened last night, and we'll get to it in just a bit, which may have eclipsed that Griffey moment. But there's something about, we won't get into baseball too long because, there's not much happening, unfortunately, once again in these parts with the San Francisco Giants. But it is, we haven't even talked about the Dodgers.
We don't need to do that. There's nothing joyous there.
There's nothing joyous there, but again, when you talk about the pressure of these games, and that poor kid, Orion Kirkering.
Yeah, Orion Kirkering. Yeah, that was really tough to watch. That's just one of those bang plays. I don't know how old that kid is. I think he's on
23.
23? Yeah, I think he's a rookie. I mean, that's just obviously in the situation, the catcher, Real Muto, he was pointing towards first, go one. And the kid panicked and threw home. I mean, we saw this happen earlier this year. Ryan Walker, I told you there's a Giants angle. There was a chopper back to him, and he went home instead of going to first. The ball went wide there, and you'd think that's a very easy play to make. A chopper back to you, just throw to the catcher and home. But it really isn't. It's a panic throw. It's very easy for it to go wrong, as unfortunately Kickering learned. All you got to do is just stop, go to first, and you can move forward. But it's so easy to say that when we're watching, Dan. When you're in that moment, though, as a young pitcher on that stage in the Chavez latrine, it moves so fast that sometimes those things happen. It sucks. It's not an excuse or anything like that, but you feel for the guy so bad this weekend.
But unfortunately, Philadelphia, and I know this because I have friends out there, they're not native Philadelphians, but they moved out there long enough where they're transplants and they know the terrain. And so if that happens in San Francisco, you're a diehard Giant fan. Is it? I've never heard of this kid. Is it Kirkering?
I think it's pronounced Keckering.
Keckering?
I don't know. Risotto.
Pasta, you're the final say.
Kirking, Keckering, yeah, I don't know.
Kirkering. Okay, so Kirkering.
Well, if Risotto's even know.
Kirkering, if this happens, let's just say and substitute Kirkering for Ryan Walker. and that happens, as you just mentioned, something similar to that happened earlier this year. But let's just say that was Game 5 against the Dodgers. Same scenario, but it's San Francisco in L.A., and you substitute Ryan Walker for Kerkering. Now, you being a diehard Giant fan, and I can speak for maybe the majority of the people here, you'd be frustrated.
Oh, absolutely.
You might throw something. You might be upset. You might curse out Ryan Walker for a bit, but then I think cooler heads will prevail, and there might be some empathy for Ryan Walker, whoever the pitcher might be in that moment, recognizing, yeah, you know what? It's just one of those things. As angry as I am, I don't know that I can point a finger at that particular person. Where I'm going with that, that's not the way Philadelphia thinks.
No, they are very different.
They want him dead.
Mm-hmm.
They want him gone from the planet. There is no empathy whatsoever.
No, they are a different breed out in Philly. We here in the Bay Area, we are much more, I think we're more loyal to our own players. We really care about our guys. And I think there is a level of forgiveness that we're willing to allot to certain players. You know, I'm trying to think as you're talking, Dan, I'm trying to think like other, notable playoff goats.
Buckner.
And
it's right up there with Buckner.
Well, no, in the Bay Area.
Oh, wow.
And the first one that comes to my mind is Kyle Williams, the receiver returner for the Niners who fumbled the punt there. And Niner fans never really got over that. When it comes to the Giants, I think about the parade of relievers that came out in 2016. And, it was a lot of guys that Giants fans had already come to love a little bit. So I think that kind of made it easier to move on, so to speak. If that happened today in the Bay Area, though, if that happened to Ryan Walker, he would have a rough offseason, I think. Or any reliever who was in Orion Keckering's position there the other night. I mean, when you're the GOAT in those situations, it wears on you. It sticks with you for a long time. And so it's just, I mean, he's got to get out of Philly. That city might never forgive him. The Bay Area, we might forgive people, but it doesn't happen overnight.
I don't know if you remember Mitch the Wild Thing Williams going back in the day, Pasta, if you remember Mitch Williams, who gave up a home run, a game-winning home run in the postseason. And yes, he had Joe
Carter, right?
Yeah, Joe Carter. He had to leave. Basically, he could never pitch again in Philadelphia. There was a player, this is before me and before my, I started following sports, but I read about this stuff, by the name of Larry Schreiber, here in San Francisco, maybe back in the 70s, who played for the San Francisco 49ers, and they were about to beat the Dallas Cowboys, I believe, maybe at Kezar Stadium. And everybody and their brother knew that it was going to be an onside kick as Dallas was trying to mount this crazy comeback. Sure enough, onside kick to Larry Schreiber, who I want to say was a backup, maybe running back, and he fumbled this thing. Dallas recovered, eventually won the game. And I want to say that Larry Schreiber was asked to leave the city. I mean, when it happens, none of us can even spell the guy's last name, but here we are talking about something that will follow him the rest of his life. And where does he go from here? Donnie, do you remember Donnie Moore?
Donnie Moore
gave up the game-winning home run to who was
Dave Henderson?
Dave Henderson of the Boston Red Sox, and he committed suicide a month later.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is one of those things that it's Philadelphia. For 8 months, they've been building to this moment, and they could taste that thing coming back home, and they felt as though if they got that back in Philadelphia, they were not letting it go. They were not going to lose. And this guy on a comebacker, it wasn't a comebacker, granted. It was weird.
I think it bounced off his foot a little bit too. It was a weird play.
He saw the guy off, and that's the thing. He's obviously making good pitches. He saw off, Pajes, like he broke his bat. There was kindling. There was firewood. Good pitch.
It's bad execution.
The last thing he was thinking about was fielding. While you're so good at making the pitch, he's not thinking about Pasta, tell me, you're a former baseball player, and Sam, you know this as well. The one thing that I learned when I was a kid playing baseball that always stuck with me is situational baseball. Think one play ahead. You might be out in right field and think, I'm just going to watch this thing. Well, just think, because the coach would drill this in your head. If the ball's coming to you on one hop, where are you going with the ball? What do you think about all the potential scenarios? But he was just focused on busting a fastball in on Pajes' hands, that he had not gone through any of the potential, especially something coming right back to him, obviously.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is to your point, Dan. Like, our coaches would always teach us in baseball. I played a little bit in high school. what are you going to do there? So when I'm out in the field, I'm always thinking before every pitch, if it comes to me on the fly, what am I doing? If it comes to me on the ground, what am I doing? If it gets past me, what am I doing? You have to go through all those permutations before every single pitch. The problem with, baseball today and with pitchers and Kerkering's position today is that there's not a lot of fielding practice that's done during the course of the season. When you're playing in high school and college, you're practicing every day because you're not playing every day. Whereas in Major League Baseball, during the season for the Giants, I can, maybe once a week during homestands would I see the infielders take practice around the field. I rarely ever saw any of the outfielders like Jung Hoo Lee or Elliot Ramos or Drew Gilbert and any of them. I don't think I ever saw them doing outfield drills during the season. And then Risotto, you're there, during the weeks and whatnot. I mean, as well as on the weekends. I mean, how often do we ever see the pitchers doing anything pregame? I mean, maybe
it's a spring training thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see them do bunt drills like a couple times a year if someone screwed up during the week. Matt Williams will drag all the pitchers out there. All right, we're doing bunt drills. You see that maybe a handful of times a year. And this kind of goes into, and I don't want to sound like an old grumpus or anything, old man yells at cloud, but there is a abandonment of fundamentals in baseball that we've seen over the last couple of years. You've seen a lot of coaches talk about it, that the simple basic things just aren't being preached like they used to. And as Risotto said, these are spring training drills. Spring training was 6-7 months ago. It could have been that long since Kerkering's done actual infield drills. And so all that leads to the situation we saw the other night, and it sucks.
Getting back to your Giants, how many times, and this isn't just relegated to San Francisco, but they were one of the bigger offenders, how many times would you see base running mistakes where they just wouldn't pick up the third base coach? Mm-hmm. Or they just simply would run themselves out of an inning? Again, not thinking of the situation. And it's just really, it's one of the reasons why I think some of the last teams that are standing, Milwaukee, I think there's an emphasis on that. And I think Toronto also plays sort of this small ball where they understand, let's do the little things and be good at that. What did you have, Pasta?
Yeah, no, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. Dan, what you said about just focusing on making the pitch. And I could say I never pitched in a Game 4. I pitched in high school. That was it. When you pitch, you are taught to do all these things, right? To land on the mound in a way that you're going to be able to field your position and get yourself in the position to be successful after you throw the pitch. But when you're a pitcher, you rarely think of a comebacker. Like, it's just not in your head. It's not in the realm of possibilities. Every time I had a ball hit back to me, it was a total shock. In every sense of the word, it was a total shock. And if there's nobody on base, there would have been no question of what he's doing. But you have in your eyesight a guy running down the third base line. And your natural instinct, even though you see Real Muto and maybe you can't hear him, it's loud at Dodger Stadium telling you to go to first, your natural instinct is to try to get the guy right in front of you. And it was a mental mistake. It was a physical mistake because the throw home was bad. And it's just one of those things. And kind of what Sam was alluding to, somebody who's kind of around this world, I coach young kids and junior Giants, there's an emphasis on getting your information as a baseball fan in 30-second blasts. And what these kids are doing, as we live in an age of 30-second blasts, you could watch a bat flip and a home run and a strikeout on Instagram and a guy, pumping his fist and all that. But when it gets to first and third and nobody out, they just don't know what they're doing with the baseball. And it's an issue that has to do with nobody's watching the games. We're getting our information via highlights. And sometimes the highlights are not situational baseball all the time.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
You do miss a lot of the nuance in games when you do just watch the highlights, not just in baseball, but in any sport. I mean, you can go and, and I'll do this sometimes, if I don't watch the end of a Warrior game or the Sharks games, actually, it's a great example of that. Because usually for Sharks games, the third period starts at like 9:30. Like, I'm already getting into bed at that point. So I'm going to watch the highlights on YouTube the next morning. You miss a lot of the subtle nuances, though. You miss any of the subtle mistakes because the highlights are going to show you just that, the highlights. It rarely are the fundamentals part of the highlights. It's a nuanced part of the game that we don't pay attention to as much anymore.
And you don't see the right fielder backing up first base on the pickoff attempt, like something as simple as that.
And I would say that baseball, more than any of the other sports, cannot be fragmented. Because baseball is the one sport where there is the game within the game. There is so much that's going on. And it's a thinking man sport. And you have to be thinking one play ahead. And here's the other side of this, is that You have the Freddie Freeman moments like in the World Series of a year ago. The Polanco big base hit last night that Seattle Mariner fans will never, ever forget.
Yeah.
There's the other end of the spectrum that in games like this, you also, and you probably don't entertain this, but there's the potential that I could be a GOAT and be remembered forever. Bill Buckner is somebody that I talked about. I can't think of a playoff. Maybe there is something on that level in the playoffs. Obviously, it wasn't a World Series game, but I can't think of anything that jumps into my head other than what Bill Buckner did in the ball by that of Mookie Wilson that went right between his wickets. That, of course, created that Game 7 and New York Met fans still talk about. I can't think of anything in the postseason of Major League Baseball until what it is that Orion Kerkering did the other day and botching a comebacker. Well, that was to that level.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about, all-time playoff GOATs here, if we want to just keep it to the Bay Area, again, I mentioned Kyle Williams. That might be the biggest one right there. Another one, and I'm going to dive into the deepest, darkest parts of my Giants fandom, 2003, Jose Cruz Jr. in Game 3, dropping the ball. And then, that was a very costly error. It allowed the Marlins to take Game 3 and swung that series. The Giants, and Marlins obviously come back and win Game 4 on the walk-off run scoring there by Pudge holding onto the ball when JT Snow comes around to score and takes him out, and Pudge held onto the ball. But that Jose Cruz Jr. fly ball that he dropped, I mean, he was a Gold Glove center fielder that year, Dan. He made some of the most incredible plays you would see. He was my favorite Giant that year. Like, I was playing, Little League Baseball at the time. I wanted to be like Jose Cruz Jr. because he was just so much fun to watch in the field. Yeah. And then that happens, and he ended up not coming back the next year. I don't know I think he was on a one-year deal only, so, I don't know what the story was there in terms of why he did not come back. But you think of moments like that, those do stick with you as a fan. And again, we're just kind of thinking about, like Kerkering, can he ever go into Philadelphia again? I don't know if Kyle Williams ever really popped up here in the Bay Area ever again. Jose Cruz Jr., he never played in the Bay Area ever again. There are those situations where, when you are that GOAT, you just you disappear from a market, and it sucks.
Let me just take it here to a fan, Bartman. I mean, Bartman to this day, where the hell is he?
I don't think he's gone to a Cubs game since.
I don't think he's lived in Chicago.
When the Cubs, that's different because the Cubs have reached out to him numerous times
after they won the series.
Yeah, they want to smooth it off, didn't they? I think they offered him a ring too, and anything. I mean, that's a guy. I felt so bad for him.
There was 12 different people that were reaching out for that baseball.
Absolutely, and he gets unfairly blamed for it. And Moises Alou's gone back and forth in terms of saying whether or not he could have gotten that ball or not.
Well, Moises Alou, I think, through. There was a little
he got
kerosene on the fire with his antics of what do you do? Because I think,
Well, in the moment, you're going to react that way. But the way he
slapped his knees just really sort of created that ire. But I mean...
Well, then the camera just lingers on Bartman
with his
the
headset,
entire time.
Listening to the game. And, listening to Jack Brickman there.
Did you ever hear watch the Catching Hell documentary? It was one of the ESPN docs on Bartman.
Is that Bartman? I believe so, yeah.
And so they...
I think he went there with two friends that sort of abandoned him during the game.
But anyway, so he had the headset on. He's listening to the game on the radio.
It was on delay.
And it was on delay. So they did a simulation of here's what Bartman would have heard in that moment. And by the time the ball is getting to him, that's when the call of the ball actually being hit starts. So he was a little behind in terms of what he was hearing. And I'll be honest, I've never been a guy who listens to the game while I'm at it. I get why you would do it, but I think that's the reason why you don't do it, because you are a little behind there. The dude was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he's had to wear it for the rest of his life.
Yeah, but that just, once again, it goes to these big games in big cities where it means so much. And quite frankly, it's sort of refreshing in a weird way. I never want to see that happen to Bartman. I don't ever want to see that happen to what this poor kid Orion Kerkering did in blowing it for Philadelphia. But sometimes when we watch sports, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, these guys make so much money. Do they care? Do they feel like we feel? Do they feel like when you're a kid playing in a big game? And it's obvious that they're very aware of how big these moments are. Hell, I'll take you back to Game 3. Tommy Edelman, the second baseman for the Dodgers, he's a good defensive second baseman. You see the scud that he threw to Freeman? I mean, he almost threw that thing away and allowed Philly to win that Game 3. I mean, it was a routine ground ball, but you could see him short-arming it. This is the last out of the game, and he's just everybody nerves take over in those scenarios.
Well, I think it goes to the famous Yogi Berra quote. This game is 90% mental. The other half is physical. We really do, I think, forget about the mental aspect of the game of baseball. I mean, these guys are, they're human beings. Again, bringing it back to Ryan Walker, I'm chatting with him in the clubhouse, that last weekend, and about what he's going to try and do next weekend. He's talking about how he's going to hire a mental coach to kind of help him with those late game situations there. And that's the things that you have to do, the investments you have to make in yourself to get better, not just physically. Baseball's not a sport of the strongest man wins. Being the beefiest, the bulkiest, that might work in basketball and football, but more so than anything in baseball, what goes on between your ears will make or break everything for you. I mean, who's the guy, what was it? Who's the second baseman who just completely forgot how to throw to first base?
Steve Sachs.
Was Steve Sachs, yeah. The Dodgers.
Sacramento zones.
Yeah. A mental block. He just could not make that throw to first for whatever reason. John Lester, another one, can't do a pickoff throw.
Yeah.
When you have these mental blocks, it affects you more than almost anything physically could.
Are you familiar with a Hall of Fame catcher by the name of, he started as a catcher, but Dale Murphy? Dale Murphy played for the Atlanta Braves.
Okay.
A Hall of Famer.
Not a Hall of Famer.
Not a Hall of
Famer.
Famer. Should be. Okay, sorry. And he started out as a catcher and couldn't throw back. He couldn't throw back to the pitcher. Mackie Sasser, a guy.
He had the Rube Baker problem from Major League 2.
Exactly. You're right. Why don't we just keep that as a theme, an ongoing theme throughout the day? 888-957-9570. There you go, Pasta. 888-957. 888-957-9570. He loves to imitate me, even though he's way off.
He does some better than others.
Who's the biggest GOAT for you out there, fans? Who's the biggest GOAT of all time? Where you can do it locally. You could do, if you want to dig up Bill Buckner. My favorite moment spending time in New York, somebody tells this story because it was true because they have a picture of it. So before Bill Buckner and the ball goes between his legs in that Game 6, people think that was Game 7, but it was Game 6. So the Boston Red Sox are about to win, finally win that elusive, their first World Series. There's 2 outs. The Mets are down a ton of runs. It's all over. And so the scoreboard out at Old Shea Stadium in New York flashed, "Congratulations, Boston Red Sox, World Series champions 1986. It was only up for about 15 seconds, but somebody took a snapshot of it, and this guy who has a bar out there in Flushing still has it back there of, this moment that sort of dictated exactly what it is that the Mets were up against before, of course, all hell broke loose, and the rest, as they like to say, is history. But it's different when you're on that stage and you talk about the little gremlins that are climbing into your head. All right, we see the phone lines beginning to light up here. If you have the biggest GOAT that you want to reference here on 888-957-9570, we want to hear from you. Sam, anybody else in terms of guys that jump into your head that
I'm thinking of horns? I'm thinking of a list right now. I got one I'll give out on the other side of one that I got a GOAT that definitely cost a championship here in the Bay Area, but, it's a name we all know. Let's just say that.
All right, we'll do that and much more. And as promised, we'll get into the San Francisco 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mac Jones, I think he's starting at quarterback. I don't know. That MASH unit called the football team. We'll talk about the Niners, the Bucs. We'll get into the Golden State Warriors. And again, who is your biggest GOAT of all time, playoffs or otherwise, here at 888-957-9570. It's Dan Devone, it's Sam Lubin, and my man Pasta behind the glass right here for the next couple of hours on 95.7 The Game.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152.
Tired of the same old night out? Head to Ghostwood Kitchen, your neighborhood spot for an incredible time. They take pride in their huge selection of in-house craft beer, innovative craft cocktails made with fresh ingredients, and full menu of delicious scratch-made foods, from their smash burgers to their unique appetizers. Don't miss their special entertainment nights featuring Wednesday night trivia. On Friday and Saturday night, Ghost Hour is 50% off all drinks, 9 p.m. to close, and featuring a live DJ on Fridays. Find your vibe at Ghostwood Kitchen, 911 Main Street in Redwood City, and at ghostwood.com.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Hey, Bay Area, slam dunk and save lives with Stanford Blood Center. Donate blood during October, and you'll be automatically entered to win tickets to the Golden State Warriors game on Christmas Day. Every time you donate, you could help up to 3 people, bringing strength and support to individuals and families when they need it most. This is our way of saying thank you for being a hero in your community. Visit StanfordBloodCenter.org to learn more and schedule your donation today. That's StanfordBloodCenter.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is Greg Nemitz from the Autism Society. The Pettinelli Financial Golf Tournament raised over $100,000 for our organization. Thank you, sponsors, players, volunteers, and thank you, Pettinelli Financial.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back to 95.7 The Game, man. We are, or at least I am, a lot of checks and balances today. A lot of people overseeing. I have a lot of editors today that I'll get to. So apparently I misspoke as we welcome you back in, Sam Lubman, Dan Avone, and my man Pasta. I told you this is something that I read about. So it was not Larry Schreiber back in, I think it was during the 70s, the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers in a legendary game out at Kezar in which the Cowboys mounted this remarkable comeback, and the onside kick was booted by Preston Riley. Preston Riley, not Larry Schreiber. My apologies to Larry Schreiber, wherever you might be today, or even if you're still with us. And Donnie Moore, I talked about, and I exaggerated. Yes, I was embellishing for dramatic reasons. Back in 1989, when Donnie Moore, he died in 1989. And it was not 2 months after he gave up the Henderson. So rightfully so, the caller and or the message, the person texting in, does not want me to over-dramatize it already. Yeah, it's a tragic story. It is. And yeah, I think a lot of people take advantage of that just to dramatize it. But yes, it was It was not immediately. People don't even know if there was a cause and effect, but it was something that was thought to be sort of taking part in it. Was obviously maybe a man who was dealing with depression and other issues. But it just gets back to, again, what it is that we're talking about today and sort of our overall theme, the biggest GOATs of all time, whether it's the postseason or otherwise. And we highlighted this young man, Orion Kirkering, who blew a comebacker and threw the thing. I mean, he just absolutely fell apart and pooped his pants, threw the ball away, and thus ending a Philly season where they just felt this because they're, this little run of theirs might be coming to an end, and people thought that this would be the year. Some of the text line, good knowledge here. 2018 NBA Finals, J.R. Smith forgetting the score against the Warriors. Remember that?
I very much do remember that one. That was a fun one. That was a fun one.
Chris Webber calling the timeout for the University of Michigan when they didn't have any more timeouts. Michigan, by the way, Fab Five, a little side note, they never won a national championship. As good as
that was their moment right there. That was their chance. They were going to do it. YouTube chat's got one that still haunts me to this day. Bees Knees on YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Dusty Baker giving the ball to Russ Ortiz. Well, I think that there's that, and that leads to the actual GOAT of that series, unfortunately, which is one Felix Rodriguez. And you talk about guys who it was hard to forgive. Felix Rodriguez, absolutely one of those guys where I did not look at him the same way again after that series. It was when he was gone, I think 2004, they finally got rid of him. Yeah, that was pretty cathartic to see him go.
So we're talking about the biggest GOATs of all time. We're sort of focusing on the postseason.
The bad GOATs, not the good GOATs.
888-957-9570. The text line's got Brooks Conrad.
Oh, that's a really good one. Giants benefited big off of him.
Good knowledge.
I think that was that might have been actually 15 years ago yesterday, I believe, was the Brooks Conrad game. That was what was because it was game 4, right? Yeah, that was game 4 of that series. The Giants ended up clinching in that one. But because it ended the big one, obviously, was the one in the 9th inning where the Giants were down a run. I think it was Freddie Sanchez. Was it Freddie who got the hit or Aubrey Huff that got the hit?
Freddie.
It was Freddie who got the hit. Freddie gets the hit that goes under Brooks's glove. And you could almost time your watch to Brooks Conrad making an error in that game. You just knew that the ball was looking for him and was looking to torment him. And that is one of the happiest. It's like, and that's the thing, Dan, as miserable as Philly is, as sad as Orion Kirkering is, what's always crazy is on the other side, it's one of the greatest moments in fandom history.
Yeah, but it's L.A.
I know. I mean, that's why let's focus on the Brooks Conrad aspect of it. I remember watching that game. It was a Sunday afternoon with my dad. We were going absolutely bananas in our living room watching that game. One of the most fun Giants playoff games I've ever been able to watch. All 3 of those errors imprinted in my memory. Being able to see the highlights on Twitter yesterday was really nice. But yeah, that's a really good one there.
Do we agree that we put Bill Buckner at the top of the list?
I think he's the most notable. I'm sure, he's probably the most famous one. Yeah, the one that's talked about the most. Because again, I mean, that was literally the last out of the series, right?
Number 1.
Yeah. I don't know if there's one that, in terms of just,
can we get Vince Scully's call on that if you get a chance?
And it gets by the bag. It gets through Buckner.
Vince Scully. So you know me, Sam. I like less is more, and I learned that from Vince Scully. Vince Scully would always say, there's nothing that I can tell you that is going to be more accurate or is going to do a better job of a crowd going nuts. Let the crowd dictate the moment. He called the home run by Hank Aaron that eclipsed Babe Ruth back in the 1970s. And back then, this is pre-ESPN or the MLB network, obviously. And so they had a nationally televised game like in the middle of the week, which was unheard of, like on ABC, because history was about to happen. And I always tell this story. And so Vince Scully talks about Hank Aaron's home run, and it had been highly anticipated. When is he going to break? Babe Ruth was one of the landmark. Baseball is all about records and records being broken. And it was something that people had talked about forever, and this was going to be the year. And here was Hank Aaron on the precipice of setting history, and finally it takes place. And here is Vince Scully to make this call, and all he simply said was, and there it goes. And then he just got out of the way. He left a live mic, so all you heard was nothing but pandemonium. And out there in Atlanta, of a sold-out stadium at Old Fulton County Stadium, and all you could hear was crowd noise. And Vince Scully said it has to be the record for the longest time an announcer walked away from a live mic. Because after the home run, he said he went back, got a cup of coffee, was shaking hands, talking to other people, and just let this whole thing play out. So let that be a lesson to all of you young sportscasters, Pasta and company, that less is more. Don't try and be Dave Niehaus.
Well, I always thought, I'm not the biggest Joe Buck guy. I've kind of come around on him in the last few years, but one of his greatest calls was the Ishikawa walk-off. It was simple. Ishikawa hits one out the right. Giants win the pennant. And then there's silence for another couple minutes as that celebration plays out. And I always joke, Joe Buck's best call is the one where he doesn't talk. But, that is true, though, to your point, though, Dan. One of Vince Scully, one of the legendary broadcasters in all of history, a famous redhead, his greatest call was the one where he did not talk. And so it's ironic how it kind of works out that way.
By the way, before you go on, I talked to Buck about that very thing. He's the one who pointed this out to me. Joe Buck, we were on the field before a game once, and he's the one that said that's, he learned from Vince Scully. He learned from his old man. Remember his old man, the famous call?
Jack Buck, see you tomorrow night. Yep.
Yeah. So this was something that had been instilled in him at a young age. But there's something about Buck that annoys a lot of people because he comes across as very smug.
For me, my frustration with Joe Buck, it was definitely that 2012 NLCS where the Giants came back down 3-1, and Buck was just a sourpuss about it the entire time as that comeback was happening because his precious St. Louis Cardinals were at the receiving end of it. He always says, just so you know, I hate your team. It's like, I don't know about that, dude, but just like listening to you clearly have a slant towards the Cardinals against my Giants as a fan, yes, it rubbed me the wrong way. That being said, I've matured over the years. And I've come to appreciate Joe Buck, and then the fact that I got him on the morning roast the other year before Monday Night Football. That if you come on my show, that'll go a long way to make me change my opinion about you. I am very much that transactional.
Well, I don't really necessarily. I have an issue with him because I had the entire crew, because I used to do sports on Fox in another market, and so they had the entire Fox crew was going to come on my show because I used to do a pre and post game NFL show.
Oh, nice.
And so I had Jimmy Johnson. I had Millen. I had all these guys that I had to go down to their hotel, but the hotel had set up this little mock studio, and we went into this room.
That's pretty cool.
The one guy who didn't show,
oh.
and Buck showed up later and said, "Do you want me to come on?" And I'm like, "No, bro, we don't need you now." But he's like,
you told Buck to go take a hike?
I told my producer, we don't need him. We're good.
Wow, that's how you do it. But hey, at least got Canes legend Jimmy Johnson on the panel with you.
He was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing up here in Southeast Alaska. And they hate Seattle just like to this day.
Southeast Alaska.
He's like, I'm freezing out here.
Have you watched that Cowboys doc that's on Netflix right now about Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
So Jimmy's obviously...
He actually paints Jerry Jones in a positive light. Is that
I think he's trying to paint himself in a positive light. It's Jerry. He's like, obviously we all know Jerry's 174 years old, and he's trying to, create some legacy doc that'll showcase as he's fading away into, history, how great of a gambler he was. And I think the whole thing is just, I don't think it paints Jerry in the light that he thinks it does. Let's just say that. I haven't watched the whole thing, but you could see how he slowly destroyed the Cowboys in very comical fashion if you're not a Cowboy fan. But, the arrival of Jimmy Johnson is probably my favorite part of it because I love Jimmy Johnson, obviously, for what he did for Miami. But he, that first year when he's the coach of the Cowboys, he's talking about how he's weeding out the guys who don't need to be there, the attrition that every team goes through when a new coach arrives. And they're showing clips of players doing wind sprints during practice because he's trying to condition them. And one guy's passed out on the grass, gasping for air. And he's like, and Jimmy comes over, he's like, "What are you doing? Why are you lying on the ground like that?" And the guy's like, "I have asthma, coach." He's like, "You think I care about your asthma? Go have asthma on that field over there." And I was just like, oh my God, could you imagine? Kyle Shanahan would never be able to do that. Could you imagine, "Hey, yeah, I know you have asthma right now, but I need you to go have that asthma over there on that field. This is not the field to have that." He would never do that. And so it was just, only Jimmy could get away with that.
Stick it up our ass.
Exactly, Jimmy Johnson. That is how we do it. That was Jerry, though, not Jimmy. But, yeah, Jerry is definitely not painting himself in the light that he thinks he is.
All right, let's continue with our theme today. We're talking about the biggest GOATs in sports history. Let's get out to Kevin hanging out in Fremont. What's on your mind, Kev?
Yeah, being a huge A's fan and just a lifetime A's fan since I was a kid, the biggest moment for me, and he wasn't a biggest GOAT, but the biggest GOAT moment in my sports life was in 1988, watching, he's blowing away Kirk Gibson. He's blowing away Kirk Gibson with fastballs, and then he decides to go to his best pitch, which was his slider. But for that moment, Dennis Eckersley is my biggest GOAT moment when he hung the slider to Gibson. And I don't know if the A's would have won the World Series that year, but I know the A's lost the World Series after that pitch.
Yep, that's a good call there, Kevin. It's interesting because, everyone compared that hit that Freddie Freeman got last year in Game 1. They compared it to the Kirk Gibson one, and Kevin's got a good point. Did it win them the World Series? No. Did it lose them the World Series? No. But Game 1 is a tone setter.
Yeah.
And when you win like that in Game 1, you might as well just pack it up because the emotional gut punch of something like that is just so hard to overcome. That's why winning that Game 1 is so important. When, J.J. Redick, not J.J. Redick, what's my guy's name? J.R. Smith. Sorry, I'm getting my J's mixed up. When J.R. Smith, forgot what the score was, because remember, he thought the Cavs had the lead there. That's why he's dribbling it out. And you see the moment where LeBron realized that's what he said. But that was a massive moment in that series, because, the Warriors were probably going to win that series, but if the Cavs were going to steal a game and set a different tone for that series, that was it. But when that moment happened, you knew in that very instant, the Warriors are going to win this game, and then they're going to probably obliterate this team the rest of the series, because an emotional swing like that, you can't, it's just so hard to overcome.
Yeah, and also Kevin Durant, speaking of GOATs, did not box out on that missed free throw. Anyways, speaking of that 1988, and just staying with Kevin Fremont talking about, what was you talked about a Game 1, was also so stunning. That never happened to the A's that year. Like, Eckersley would come in, end of story. They beat everybody in 1988. So, yeah, to see that was like, whoa, did that just happen to the Oakland A's? But getting back to Vince Scully, here's a story for you. So Vince Scully, as only Vince Scully can do, in his own sort of humble brag, says, I'm the guy who's responsible for what is, until Freeman's home run, thought to be the biggest hit in the history of Dodger baseball, at least in Los Angeles. Because he said that Kirk Gibson was so hurt, and he said this on the air, he said, Kirk Gibson is so hurt, he's not even in the dugout. Kirk Gibson was in the locker room on a stationary bike watching the game.
No bloody way.
And he's watching the game, and he hears Vince Scully say that. Because Scully's like, you know what? If you Dodger fans are looking for Kirk Gibson, he's not even in the dugout. I don't think he's available. So Kirk Gibson, upon hearing this, down below in the clubhouse, goes to the dugout. And it was only because Tommy Lasorda looked down the bench and saw one Kirk Gibson did he signal him into the game to pinch hit. So Vince Scully always takes credit for the fact that he's the guy that summoned one Kirk Gibson to get out from underneath and to the dugout.
That's a pretty good one there. Before the break, Dan, I had mentioned, I wanted to tease a home run, or sorry, not a home run, a GOAT candidate for a massive playoff series. And this is one that I do believe truly cost the Bay Area championship, which would have been one of the greatest championships, maybe the greatest championship in Bay Area sports history. And I'm going back about 9 years to the summer of 2016. Yes, I'm bringing up one Draymond Green. When he took that swipe at LeBron in Game 4, and then LeBron spent the next 2 days crying to Kiki Vanderway about how hard it was to take the high road, and ended up leading to Draymond Green getting suspended for that pivotal Game 5. And I'll always remember, Dan, I went to the A's Rangers game last night,
and
which was right across Championship Plaza from Oracle Arena, the plant. And I would say, there were maybe 15,000 fans there that night. I think maybe 17 of them were there to actually watch A's Rangers. There was no one really sitting in the stands except for on the first base side. That's where all the Warrior fans were because that's where Draymond Green was. He was sitting up in the second deck in that club level area with Bob Myers, Marshawn Lynch was there. They had a whole crowd and everything there. And he's just kind of at an A's game watching the Warriors. And I remember my friends and I, we found the one TV, the one little corner TV that you could actually change the channel for. And so we're watching Game 5 on this little 12-inch screen at an A's game. And of course, Andrew Bogut got hurt in that game, and the rest ended up happening. But that is one where, that suspension cost the Warriors a championship. Yep. It really did, because Draymond was a force in that series. He was a little bit tempered in Game 6 because he was playing with, no margin for error. But Dan, remember, he had a 30-point triple-double in Game 7. Yeah. Like, he was he was unreal amazing in that series. Yeah. It might have been the last time he scored double digits. Like, it's not, but I'm being facetious. He was incredible in that series when he got knocked out. And I still to this day believe LeBron James, made those calls to the NBA office and was making those pleas to Kiki Vanderway, because LeBron knew the only way the Cavs had a shot of winning that series was if to take Draymond Green off the court. And it's really hard to have that kind of respect for LeBron these days, remembering that. Honestly, after the stunt that LeBron pulled this week, it's even easier to be angry with him right now.
Remind me, what did he do?
So I believe this was on Monday, he does this whole tease for the Decision 2. You obviously remember Decision 1, right? Yeah. So he does this whole thing, Decision 2. It's going to announce it at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, Decision 2. And, of course, everyone's buzzing. Oh, is he announcing his retirement? Is he announcing this is his farewell season? Because you look at the tea leaves, it's everything. Everything looks like it's setting up for that. Luka's the guy in L.A. now. LeBron's 40 years old, Dan. No one has ever played 23 seasons in the NBA. LeBron is about to do that. It's incredible what he's done. But so he does this. He announced this whole thing. He teases it tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And so on Tuesday at around 8, the news breaks. No, he's not announcing his retirement. This is an ad that he's doing with Hennessy and Amazon Prime.
Oh, well.
And so all these people went out and bought tickets to Laker games in that 24-hour period, though, because they thought that this is going to be their last chance to see LeBron. And then he does this, and people are rightfully mad. There's a fan out there who's suing LeBron because this guy spent 800 tickets on Lakers-Cavs game that's now pointless. And he's saying that he spent all this money on these tickets because of this little bait and switch that LeBron did. Honestly, I'm really pissed at LeBron that he did that. Like, that is just such a low move even for him.
That's the difference between, when people talk about who's the better basketball player, is it him, is it Michael Jordan? And I think part of the reason why I would say the majority of the people would say Jordan is because people like Jordan. Even though Jordan had his mishaps, but as a person, I just think people are willing to sort of put up with Jordan. There's something about Jordan and his personality that sort of resonates, that you appreciate, as opposed to LeBron. It's not so much what happens on the floor, but that decision is oftentimes because they like Michael Jordan rather than the person that is LeBron James.
Which is ironic, because I'm sure if we got to learn more about the person that Michael Jordan is versus the person, like LeBron James is opening up schools for kids. Like, I will say LeBron has done a lot of good for the communities that he's been a part of, whereas I don't know how involved Jordan has been. I'm not saying Jordan hasn't been involved. I just don't know the extent to it. But all things considered, LeBron, he is a true self-made billionaire. He made it.
He's amazing.
He achieved that status literally off of his body. You cannot deny the incredible work that LeBron has done in his career.
But he's shifty as a person.
When he does things like that, though, when he says, it's so hard to take the high road. I'm going to do this little fake Decision 2 thing, stuff like that. It's like, dude, this is why people don't like you. This is why people get tired of you. The narcissism of it all is just,
there's nothing.
It's tiring.
He's never struck me as an organic person. Like everything.
No, not at all.
Everything that he does is manufactured and or copied. All right, let's get out to Mitch in New Jersey. We continue with our theme today, the biggest goats of all time. Mitch, how are you this morning?
No. They want to see. No.
This is good radio, Mitch. Where are we driving to?
Is Bo Bichette your all-time GOAT, Mitch? All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There he is.
Mitch is on the turnpike somewhere in New Jersey with his niece.
I'm trying to go to ShopRite, and I would say, first of all, the pitcher of the Phillies,
Mitch Williams.
He's wide right.
Kirk, yeah.
Kind of like Norwood with the field goal kick for the Buffalo Bills.
Norwood.
Wide right?
Yeah.
Norwood, I'm sorry. And he should have gone to first, but I guess, I would be fumbling too. No, I wouldn't know what to do either. How about Chris Webber with the Kings? I like making that stupid foul or the phantom foul against the Lakers and Kings.
Hi. Yeah.
Hey, Mitch, tell your niece we said hi too.
I got my daughter.
Oh, your daughter. Sorry. Tell your daughter that we say hi.
Hey, Leo.
My grandson. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Who's in the car?
Who's in the car?
There's so much going on.
Mitch, whoever's in the car with you, tell him we say hi.
Okay, my grandson and my wife. I'm sorry. Have a nice week.
It's all good, Mitch. I'm glad to meet the family.
In the next breath, he's going to say it's his dog. I mean,
he's got the whole crew in there. He's taking him out of town for the weekend. I'm seeing on our YouTube chat here, there's some, random Cal talk that I'm seeing in here. And, of course, that's making me remember one of my all-time.
Who's a goat at Cal?
My all-time Cal goats. I hate to go at this guy because he ended up being one of my favorite quarterbacks. It's Kevin Riley. I don't know if you remember.
Oregon State. Right?
I was at my freshman year homecoming dance, and my friend's dad, my friend Daniel, his dad was at the game, and he's texting us and calling us and telling us what's going on. And so I didn't watch the game. I'm hearing about it second hand or third hand from Daniel through Daniel's dad, and all of a sudden he's on the phone, and we're like, "What's going on? What's going on?" He looks up at me and just this horrified look on his face. He's like, "Cal just lost." Kevin Riley tried to run it with no time left, and they couldn't get the field goal off. And it was just, Dan, my dad and I, we've been watching Cal football forever. I grew up a big Cal fan. I'm going to try and go to – we were at the game last weekend against Duke when Cal got absolutely –
I turned that thing off when it was 24-7.
It's funny. We arrived at the game when it was 21-14, and it just went right after that. But – we've been watching Cal my entire, forever together, and we do this thing, we like pretend like we're holding a heart in our hand. We, pulse the fingers a little bit like it's our heart because that's what Cal does. It rips your heart out and it lets it beat for a little bit, and then it just smashes it into pieces. And that was just classic Cal football for, a half of a football game, Dan. They were the unofficial number one team in college football. And Kevin Riley, as a freshman, has that brain fart. Cal can't get on and kick the field goal in time. I'll never forget Jeff Tedford slamming his headset on the ground.
Oh, that was harsh.
I don't think Cal ever really truly recovered from that night. So you talk about goats, and Kevin Riley, he ended up having a pretty solid career.
He's a successful attorney, by the way, in the Bay Area.
Oh, really?
Days. Yes.
Oh, good for him. Yeah. I'm happy to hear that. But yeah, that one was a really painful one. Just of what. And then Cal ended up going on that massive slide afterwards, and it was such a promising 2007 season turned into just an abject nightmare overnight.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. And Kevin Riley, my goodness, man. I mean, to think that Cal was actually relevant back in the day because they have fallen so far these days. That Songo kid, though, he is something else.
He is special, and it does suck, Dan, because Cal was relevant, and it always bums me out here in the Bay Area that we don't talk more college football. Like, going to school in Miami.
It's not a college football city.
Yeah, like going to school in Miami, Miami Hurricanes are a big part of the sports talk landscape. Mario Cristobal does a hit every week on their morning show. They broadcast the Canes games. Like, the Canes are, 1A or probably 1B to the Dolphins 1A in that market. And you hear like the national shows that we syndicate. They'll talk college football all the live long day. It's incredible. But then you come here to the Bay Area and it doesn't hit. And back when Cal was relevant under Jeff Tedford, college football was talked about out here. Cal does move that needle, or at least it did for a time. Stanford never really did. I mean, Stanford won 3 Pac-10 titles in 4 years. And I think only 47 people in this area even know that. I remember Christian McCaffrey, his 2015 year, the year he should have won the Heisman. Dan, I live here. I didn't know who that guy was until November of that year. That's just how off the radar Stanford is.
Remember Toby Gerhardt?
Oh, touchdown Toby.
How good was
that
he?
That guy was a load.
He was a Heisman Trophy candidate.
He finished second to Mark Ingram in 2009, and he probably should have won the Heisman too. But college football just doesn't move the needle here unless Cal is truly relevant, which unfortunately they haven't been probably since that October night back in 2007. And unfortunately, the way college football is today, they might not ever get there again.
If you're listening, Songo, do not transfer. We will do whatever it takes. We'll get you rainbow takeout, lunch plate from the islands.
Let's have Songo on. Let's have Songo on next Saturday after he ends Bill Belichick's coaching career.
All right, we'll do that.
I got to get your Bill Belichick thoughts on the other side.
Yeah, we'll do a little Bill Belichick. We're talking about the biggest GOATs of all time, and I promise we'll get into the San Francisco 49ers as tomorrow they take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a 1:30 start, by the way, West Coast time. So that's a good thing. Won't be as hot at 4:30 out there in Tampa Bay, which by all reports, it's like, mid-80s right now. We'll do that much more when we continue on 95.7 The Game.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
I found out that one of my players was vaping, and I said, hey, right now's the time to be honest with me. He said almost everybody in my team was vaping. The next day, all the parents came in. I said, how many of you guys think that your kids are vaping? Not one of them raised their hand. There's a joint fight to make something better. We don't sit back and let it happen.
Coach Sanchez is exposing Big Tobacco's playbook. Learn how he and other Californians are beating Big Tobacco at undo.org.
Doors and loading dock equipment are a crucial part of your business, and one you probably don't think much about until they break. A broken door or dock leveler can be a real security threat, along with disturbing the flow of goods in your business. Luckily, RNS is here for all your commercial door, dock, and gate needs. From overhead doors and security shutters to fire-rated and personnel doors, RNS can provide your business with safety and security. Call 800-FIX-A-DOOR to schedule a free estimate or visit rsdoors.com. RNS Doors. Look for the red truck.
Hey, it's your boy Guru. Every time we put a rat on the table during our show, it's brought to you by Atco Pest Control. Atco Pest Control is a family-owned local business proud to provide pest control in the Bay Area for over 35 years. Atco uses natural methods to give you a peace of mind and keep your family out of harm's way. Quality pest control doesn't have to empty your savings either. Don't wait. Go to AtcoPestControl.com for all your pest control needs. They got you covered.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Red and Gold Game Day starts at Laughing Monk Brewing. Park for free. Enjoy amazing food, ice-cold beer, and every game on TV. Catch 95.7 The Game's pregame show. Then hop on the free shuttle straight to the stadium. Sign up now at 957thegame.com.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
So the winning run is at second base with 2 out, 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
And the Mets win it. And I bet you he laid out, Pasta. Do you have the full thing? I mean, I bet you he doesn't say another word.
He completely disappeared.
That's the way you do it. Don't need to. We always think it's about us. So I consult with a combat sports team out in New York, and I work with the broadcast team. And the one thing I tell these guys is, it's okay just to lay out. It's all right. And just to listen. Listen, less is always more. Be E.F. Hutton. When you talk, you want people to listen. It's sort of like the old theory when it comes to Hollywood and actors, right? You don't want to oversaturate yourself. Like Leonardo DiCaprio. When's the last time you saw him on a late night talk show? When's the last time you saw him on Kimmel?
He's got a movie right now, so hasn't he been making the rounds?
Stuff. No, he doesn't. And that's just it. When he does do it, you're like, wow, okay. So it's along that sort of thinking. It's like you don't necessarily need to ambush people as a play-by-play guy. And that's the amateurish. When you talk about your guy Niehaus, oh my God, I used to listen to him and it's just like, please be quiet. All right. Should we get into the 49ers? Is there anything else you want to talk about when it comes to goats?
I mean, I'm enjoying this GOAT conversation, but, if we want to talk about,
Somebody's got Jake Moody missing a PAT
Oh, yeah,
in the
that's
Super
an easy
Bowl.
one. If we're going to talk GOATs, I mean, obviously with the Niners, it's Kyle Shanahan, right? I mean, that's 2 Super Bowls that the Niners have choked away under him. Shanahan! Is that kind of up there too, or am I going a little too hard on Shanahan?
I don't know
there?
if I can go GOAT there. I think that's.
I mean, the guy didn't have the team didn't know the overtime rules, Dan. Like that absolutely falls on the head coach, and that's one that until he does hoist that Lombardi, unfortunately, that is going to be a note on his legacy there. It's the whole. It's not just that. It's everything that led up to it, the being drunk at media night and the arrogance that comes with him and the fall flat on your face like that. It's just, it's hard not to be mad at Kyle Shanahan for the Niners' 2 Super Bowl losses. I'll say that. I think he's up there.
But at the end of the day, he's still one of the top 5 coaches in the NFL.
I call it the Kyle Shanahan paradox. He's an incredibly great coach, but he keeps getting in his own way.
All right, speaking of the San Francisco 49ers, and if you want to continue with the GOAT calls, we're here for you. We'll listen to any and all for the GOATs in professional sports. I can't go Shanahan. Shanahan is still the guy.
Possibly.
And he's got another quarterback. This time it is, I think, by all accounts, it's going to be our guy Mac Jones, but Mac Jones is dealing with a bad knee. Mac Jones, so the biggest practice, right, is on Thursday of every week. That's when they put in everything, and that's when they have their longest, most arduous practice. And our man, Mac Jones, didn't throw a pass on Thursday, which was very peculiar and had a lot of people talking. Apparently, they're trying to rest him. He's trying to make sure that he I don't know what's hurting him worse now. Is it the knee? Is it the oblique? But he's not at 100%. And I think we should start there as, of course, it's 2 guys that have come back from the dead. Speaking of, it's Halloween right around the corner. These 2 ghouls that were buried back in the day, and I'm talking about Baker Mayfield. Remember Baker Mayfield? After Cleveland, former number 1 pick, they went and got Deshaun Watson. He goes to Carolina. It's like, okay, dig the grave, just put him in, headstone, RIP, another bust. See you later. Good night. Let's move on. Mac Jones, after being out there in New England, goes to a Pro Bowl his first year, and then the next 2 years, Belichick, he got zappied. He got Bailey Zappied at one point. Remember that? Bailey Zappi replaced him. That's how bad it got for him. He becomes irrelevant. Dig the grave. So long. RIP. And now here they are, the reclamation projects from the dead now still alive. And two of the best quarterbacks. I guess everybody's talking about Baker Mayfield. If the MVP voting were to end today, that he's the guy. I will say this, and I hear a lot of that here on 95.7 The Game. He's the MVP, and this guy's having. He is.
Yeah, the MVP so far.
I'm not, nor will I ever be a Baker Mayfield guy. And I like the guy. I actually like him. I like his personality. I know he pisses a lot of people off, but watching him play football, at some point he's going to be Baker Mayfield. He's going to make mistakes, and he doesn't have the fluidity, and he doesn't have some of the. He's having a hell of a season. He's a great football player. But I don't go MVP with this guy. He'll make enough mistakes between now and the end of the season where he's just going to be another quarterback, another good quarterback. But let's not get it crooked when it comes to this guy. And that's where I want to start. Here are 2 4-1 teams. But you know what happens oftentimes, Sam, this time of the year, is that you get these teams with these bloated records. And more often than not, they're pretenders. This happens this time of the year. And when you look back, you're like, yeah, well, they started at 4-1. And that could apply to both of these teams. I would not be surprised that if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a team that's just okay at the end of the year. And, unfortunately, I think the same can be said out of the San Francisco 49ers. While they're playing well, to me, the jury is still out. I'm not exactly sure just how good or bad this team is, and I think that's true for both teams in this instance. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Baker thing is interesting because I do think he has been getting a lot better. He's clearly got a much better situation there in Tampa that's allowed him to really kind of thrive, Dan. I mean, this is a guy
who's playing well. He's playing well.
Ever since he was drafted in 2018, Dan, no one has thrown more interceptions in the NFL than one Baker Mayfield. But a lot of that, obviously, his time with Cleveland, which you go to Cleveland, you're going to have a bad time. And by the way, how stupid is Cleveland looking these days? Just
let him go and went for Deshaun Watson.
And then they're paying 8 quarterbacks right now, Dan. The Cleveland Browns are paying 8 quarterbacks. But no, Todd Bowles has created an incredible situation here for Baker Mayfield. And he did lead the league in interceptions last year. He had 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions last year. 10-1 this year, though. And he's leading fourth quarter comebacks. I think all 4 of their wins have been fourth quarter comebacks there. So he is having a revival season. He is kind of having the year that, in a sense, Mac Jones is having with the Niners, though Baker's having, I think, on a bit of a bigger scale there. So, but to your point about, seeing both these teams fade, I think it's easy to understand why that thought might pop up for the Niners, just because, they've had so many injuries. You got to think at some point these injuries are going to catch up to them. But they haven't yet. And in the next 3 weeks, you could see George Kittle back on the field at full strength. You could have Brock Purdy back on the field at full strength. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's for the individual and the 49er fan to decide for themselves. And then, of course, it's the pass rush, I think, is what people are concerned about, 1. And then 2, the run blocking as well. It's when you don't have a consistent running game and you're a run-first team, and the longer that running game does not work the way it's supposed to, the more and more it feels like the Niners are on borrowed time there. So all those things together, yeah, I could totally see where that thought process would come from. That being said, you are going to be getting healthy all these next few weeks. John Lynch is on the phone talking to guys about, potential pass rush options. Diana Rossini is reporting earlier today that, Trey Hendrickson is on the 49ers radar. How realistic that is, I don't know right now, but the fact that Hendrickson might even be a possibility, even a long shot, I think is something to cling on to in terms of hope for the rest of this season. I think the Niners, all things considered, they do have some staying power in terms of what we've seen so far. Their flaws, I think, are correctable enough that they can sustain what they've done here in this 4-1 start.
Well, the reason why I think it might be a bit of a house of cards and we just need to let this play out is because if you can't pressure when's the last time we saw a good football team? And that's what we think the 49ers might be this year. And they certainly are up to this point. But I'm talking about a team that's going to the playoffs or potentially a number one seed out of the NFC, or a team that's going to win the division, or a team that's going to make a deep run in the postseason. When's the last time you saw a playoff team that can't put pressure on a quarterback?
No, you need to. And that's why if they do make the playoffs, which that's so far away also, by the way, that's literally, we have to turn the calendar to a whole new year before we even get to the playoffs. So,
when's the last time you saw a good football team that not only cannot pressure the quarterback but can't run the football? So that's why there's just some signs here of is this real?
Well, the running of the football, I think, is also because they aren't using McCaffrey as a running back as much. They are using him a lot more as a pass catcher these days. And so I think that kind of takes into it. If he's lining up to go catch passes and not run the ball, then that's going to have an impact on your running game as well. But it's a very good point to be concerned about there. When the receiving core gets more whole, when you have Ricky Pearsall back at full strength, when you got George Kittle back at full strength, you might even get Brandon Ayuk back at some point this year, though that might not be till the last few weeks of the season. I do imagine that when the Niners have to become less reliant on McCaffrey as a pass catcher, they can go back to using him as a running back. I like to believe that that'll inject some juice into the running game. But to your point, Dan, I think this is a Niner team that can definitely make the playoffs right now. You do have a schedule that allows for that to happen. When they get to the playoffs, though, no, you need a running game or a pass rush, one of those two things. And the Niners might get exposed at that point, but that's for down the road. You're not there right now. They have a team that is able to win games and nickel and dime these wins together in a very impressive way that Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh have been doing it.
Well, you talk about Kyle Shanahan, he's completely flipped the script. Kyle Shanahan, as well as his old man, has always cut his teeth on running the football, milking the clock, dictating tempo, long sustained drives with that stretch zone, which was his secret sauce. Only he had the keys to that. Now everybody's ripped him off, and everybody has some variation of that running attack. But it was Kyle Shanahan, make no bones about it, that created that innovative way to run the football. Now he's got Mac Jones throwing the ball 50 times in a football game, and they're still winning. So there's just something askew here. Is this something that they can hang their hat on? Maybe. Maybe it's Mac Jones getting into a drop, 49 times a game. They still don't have an interception this year. They can't pressure and I think those two go hand in hand. If you're not pressuring a quarterback, understandable that you don't have any picks this year because your DBs oftentimes are as good as your front line or your front four. But the 49ers, the fact that their defense has been suspect and it's sort of this bend but don't break, I don't know. Will that catch up with them?
Eventually they are going to have to get interceptions. That absolutely has to end here.
Turnovers would be nice.
Yes, they have to do that. They've got turnovers. They forced the fumble in in week 1 or against Seattle. They did it again against Spencer Rattler. So they could come up with big plays when they need to. But you're right on the bend don't break. That has to. I would say yes. They need to start getting turnovers there. That's probably the most important thing. And because the pass rush, unless Michael Williams takes a massive jump forward, basically right now is you got a defense that is able to make plays when they need to, but it's not going to be consistent every time.
That's a high-wire act.
And that's why I think you have to look at what Shanahan and Saleh are doing, and it is incredible what that 1-2 coaching punch has been able to do this year with the lemonade they've been able to make with the lemons that they have. And that is why I do feel like they can sustain this, because they've won games that I just in no way, shape, or form thought they would win. That game against Arizona, they won 16-15. They lose that game last year. That game on Thursday night against the Rams, everyone thought that they were going to get absolutely mollywopped in that one. And you end up getting one of the biggest Kyle Shanahan regular season wins that we've seen in quite a long time. Clearly, they're finding ways to win these games game to game. I think Shanahan has even said that it's basically a week-to-week game plan right now. And that's just how they're figuring out. It's 1 week at a time until they have a consistent team here. When they have their consistent team and they still have these issues, then I think you have to ratchet up the concern a little bit. But right now, I'm just enjoying the fact that every week Kyle Shanahan has a new fun way to figure out how to win these games.
And we'll see against what has been a good defense at times for Tampa Bay, although, and I know you're not a big Sam Darnold guy, but man, he is just now a very good NFL quarterback. It's not about just being in Minnesota and just this one weird year where he's throwing to the best wide receivers and Justin Jefferson, Addison, and company. I don't know how many people had a chance to see what it is that he did to Tampa Bay last week. Now, he threw the key interception that glanced off a guy's helmet. But Sam Darnold is just, he looks like the prototypical quarterback that was just built someplace in a lab over the offseason that's 6'4", 6'5", and just rips that thing. And just absolute monster. And he shredded Tampa Bay. Both teams going back and forth in a game where both teams scored 30 points or more out there in Seattle. So that was an impressive win by Tampa Bay going into Seattle. The Niners did it earlier this year. And now Tampa Bay gets that turnover. Tampa Bay was trailing by 7 with a little more than a minute to go and wins the game in regulation, which was pretty remarkable. They get the touchdown late and then the turnover, kick a field goal. See you later. Let's get on a plane and get the hell out of here. I think that their defense was suspect against Seattle, and I think it can be exploited by that of Mac Jones and company. I just don't know how healthy Mac Jones is at this point. With the oblique and then everything else that's going on with him, didn't throw a football on Thursday. This kid, Martinez, stand by the ready because this could be your opportunity. I don't know who's the emergency quarterback.
Well, I know they brought in a bunch of quarterbacks yesterday to work out. Desmond Ritter and Nate Sudfeld, I think, or was it Nathan Peterman? Either way, the quarterbacks they brought in to work out yesterday are not quarterbacks you want to see playing on the field on Sunday. It is going to be Mac Jones or Adrian Martinez. And Mac did, not a whole lot of throwing. We talked to Matt Lively yesterday. He's been at practice this week. Matt Lively, a sports anchor for KPIX Channel 5. He's been at a lot of the practices, a lot of the games, and he pretty much told us, Adrian Martinez was the one slinging the ball yesterday. And at the same time, he also said, hope that Mac Jones is the starter tomorrow. Now, Mac did say in his presser on Thursday that, he feels like he should be ready to go. It'll be probably no more on Sunday. He kind of brushed off the whole, if there was a game today, would you be ready to go, blah, blah, blah stuff. But yeah, if you're sending out a less than 100% Mac Jones against this Bucs defense, which is 4th in the league, Dan, in blitz rate right now. They love to create pressure to offset the deficiencies in the coverage there. That's going to be a struggle for Mac, for a guy who is not mobile to begin with and also trying to get around on a bad knee right now.
Yeah, well, that's when Kyle Shanahan, to your point, is going to counter with something, either a quick release or getting the ball out of his hands. So let's just get back to this, because this is a matter of time before we play this game. If Mac Jones, and I think that we have to err on the side of safety when it comes to Brock Purdy. Why bring him back? You obviously have a quality backup quarterback.
You're
right?
winning games.
But if you continue to win, let's say he wins, let's say he beats Tampa and he beats Atlanta. He continues, he wins the next 4 or 5 games. Let's just say they're like, Brock, we're going to sit you, all right? Or he goes on IR, and this thing continues. Is it still a foregone conclusion? Let's just say he wins his next 3 in a row. Is it still a foregone conclusion that you plug Brock Purdy back into the starting lineup?
I think right now, yes. Right now, my answer is
how many games
yes.
for you, Sam Lubman?
Right now, if I'm playing when does Brock Purdy come back game, and that'll answer that part of the question. I don't want Brock to come back until the week they play they host the Rams. So I believe that's the week of November 9th, I believe.
How many games in between now and then?
So you got the Falcons on Sunday night, then you have to go to Houston, and then you have to go to New York and play the Giants on their turf is lava field out there at MetLife.
So 4 games.
So 4 games, including this one. I want Brock to miss these next 4. Now, Kyle Shanahan did, he did say that IR is not looking like a possibility for Brock Purdy. IR, for those who don't know, injured reserve list in football. That means you have to be on it for at minimum of 4 games. So if Kyle Shanahan is saying he does not believe that the IR is required for Brock, that does tell me that they expect him to be back within these next 4 games. But in my opinion, Dan, if Kyle Shanahan calls me up and asks for advice, which, God, I hope it never gets that bad, I am telling him, do not play him until the Rams come to town. Give Brock all the time he needs to get his toe ready, because Again, and Drew Bledsoe was on with us the other day. He said it perfectly. They need to rename that injury turf toe, because when you call it just turf toe, it makes it seem like it's not a big deal. Like, oh, you just stubbed your toe or something. Like, it is a legitimate injury that impacts your ability, that affects your ability to throw in a negative way. Yeah, it's like you push off. Like, think about when you walk in your day-to-day life, Dan, how often you're pushing off your big toe to move. Like, we take it for granted because so often our big toe is in a good spot. But it is very much a factor for Brock. And if he comes back less than 100% and that injury is going to impact his performance, which, again, we could have definitive, clear, ironclad proof, Dan, that Brock's performance is hindered by his toe injury, and there will not be a single human being out in the world that will give a flying flip about it, because you are the franchise quarterback. If you're on the field, you're expected to execute. Injuries are not an excuse. So as long as Mac Jones is winning, he is buying Brock Purdy time to get right and get healthy. This is a $260 million quarterback here, Dan. The Niners cannot afford to screw around with this and risk making Brock's health worse this year or beyond this year. Mac Jones makes it so much easier to just play it patient with this.
Okay, so back to my original question. If he wins all 4 of those games, he comes back in as your starting quarterback.
If Brock is healthy, 100% ready to go, no issues with the toe at all, yes, I am starting him the second he is 100%. That said, though, I want the Niners to be very stingy on what 100% looks like. Now, if the Niners split these next 4 and Mac looks like he's regressing, that might change things a little bit. But as I'm reading the field right now, Dan, I am letting Mac be the hot hand for as long as possible until Brock is truly 100%, not like a fake 100% where he's like 93%, but we're going to round it up to 100.
Well, it's interesting that you had Drew Bledsoe on, and I'm sure that you guys, and I'm assuming this is the morning roast,
yes,
the conversation went here at some point. I'm just going to assume, because obviously you've got 2 of the most talented guys doing it in Spadone and our man Chasky.
He had some good producing that set it up too.
And you as well. Obviously, it's the all-star team, but if you go back to when Drew Bledsoe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys, I'm assuming, talked about this, but Drew Bledsoe, in a very similar situation, had just got paid, yet here comes the young man, Tom Brady, and Bledsoe never got his job back. Why? Because Brady continued to win. He wasn't very good. If you remember Brady, his rookie year,
no,
he was okay.
The defense is what carried that team.
The defense was good,
and a certain call.
But what he did is that he stacked up win after win after win, where it got to the point, despite the fact that New England had just paid Drew Bledsoe, they never went back to him.
No, and we did talk to him about that, and I got Risotto fishing for the sound clips right now. I'll play those. Maybe on the other side, I'll play what Drew Brees said about that. That is a
Bledsoe.
What I say? Did I say Breeze? Yeah. Of course. But actually, no, I got right here. Here's what Drew Bledsoe had to say about just kind of what the conversations were like with the coaches during that time.
Coaches are so focused during the season on just trying to win the next game that there's not a whole lot of time. I mean, football's not a touchy-feely sport. You know, it's not about your feelings. It's just about trying to win the next game, and that's what they're focused on. And I'm sure that's where Kyle is. That's where Belichick was. You know, it didn't mean I was happy with the situation, but, you know, it was just, and then, part of the situation with me was that I was out for so long before I was able to practice that, it was like there just aren't enough reps to get two quarterbacks ready to play. So you really have to make that call. And, so Belichick obviously made a huge mistake playing that Brady kid because he never turned out to be anything. Yeah. Unfortunately, I taught him too well, man. I raised him, and then the little stole my job.
And so, yeah, that's kind of what was going through Bledsoe's mind during that time. And again, it just comes to a point where you do reach a point of no return. But I do remember, again, that Patriots team, very defensive laden there that year. But again, it was... But
it's an example of a guy...
It can happen, yep.
Who not only lost his job, but is somebody that had just got paid. And so if this idea that you just paid Brock, so he's got to be the quarterback, once again, Drew Bledsoe, at the time, I forget what the numbers were.
It was $100 million.
$100 million, which was comparable to the $200 million that Brock Purdy just got. We'll continue to talk about it. Your thoughts on Brock Purdy? Or are you in on Mac Jones? What do the 49ers do going forward if this team continues to win? It's Sam Lubman, it's Dan Avone, here on 95.7 The Game.
This is Larry Flick, owner of The Floor Store. Our fall sale is on now, and it's big. Up to 50% off store-wide, 0% financing for 2 years, and we pay your sales tax. Go to floorstores.com for directions. The Floor Store, your Bay Area flooring authority.
We finally switched to T-Mobile, because with them, we can be connected here and there.
Let's watch a movie.
And we have Netflix included to enjoy our favorite shows and movies.
¿Qué tal está? Bacanísima, pero ya la vi.
Now the hard part is getting them to agree on a movie.
Switch today and get the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus with Galaxy AI, all on the best network in the U.S. Visit a store, T-Mobile.com, or call 1-800-T-Mobile. 1-800-T-Mobile. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence Data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
This is Greg Nemitz from the Autism Society. The Pettinelli Financial Golf Tournament raised over $100,000 for our organization. Thank you, sponsors, players, volunteers, and thank you, Pettinelli Financial.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
What the hell is this, Pasta?
It's the Good Times theme song. I've played it before.
I got a theme song for the Golden State Warriors that is really going to summarize their season. To get everybody excited, there's the walkout music, and there's always a theme for every team this time of the year. I'm going to energize the people. I got the perfect song to get people jacked up. I'll do that for you. Then when we get into the Warriors.
Is it the old song, the old people song? The AARP theme song?
You're going to appreciate
something
from
like 1933.
For those of you that can appreciate, because it's going to predate both of you. All right, we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers underdogs. Getting, I think, 3.5 out there in Tampa Bay. Where it's
let me double check on that.
85 degrees. Tampa Bay.
It's a cold Florida day.
Which, by the way, Florida, I like Miami.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's all you need to like.
Well, yeah.
Everything outside the comfy confines of Miami is pretty bad.
Only place I feel comfortable in, but
Fort Lauderdale's not bad.
I'm darker complexion than two of you, so I ain't going outside of Miami, man. Sure as hell I'm not going anywhere in the burbs out there in Florida.
There are people who willingly live in Jacksonville. It blows my mind.
Yeah, Jacksonville's the time.
Of course, we got Pitt, Florida State up here, and they're in Tallahassee right now. I mean, that's another one, which actually, I'm going to be honest, Tallahassee's not an awful town. It is, but it is.
I was in Jacksonville. I gave a talk in Jacksonville. I was just in a really beautiful hotel, and I wouldn't leave. And I did once just to go get some food, and I felt like everywhere I went, it was a scene from Cops, like the show. Like, who the hell lives in this place? All right, let's get back out to the San Francisco 49ers. We're talking a little Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. Who else? As the Niners will go with Mac Jones, and he could be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. Dave's hanging out in South City, and he wants to talk about it. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Oh, hi there. Appreciate your show. I'm a 50-year-plus Niner fan.
Let's go.
My thought is, I know this may sound ridiculous, but can they do at the training center like an open tryout where just anybody comes up? They might find a good quarterback that can take care of business while both the quarterbacks heal. That's my thought.
Dave, how's your throwing arm these days?
Not that good.
Okay, hey, and maybe you might qualify. But
Hey, Dave, so you go 50 years back with the 49ers. So earlier in the show, I don't know if you heard this. So I misspoke because it was before my time. Do you remember the game out at Kezar where the Dallas Cowboys came from behind and there was an onside kick and everybody and their brother knew it was coming, and a guy by the name of Preston Riley fumbled the football and Dallas recovered and went on to win that game? Do you remember that game specifically?
No, but my father was probably there.
Did you spend any time in Kezar watching the Niners?
I did not, just like on the radio, listening a little bit. I was born in 61.
All right, Dave. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
For your, tryouts. You can have tryouts for kickers. I don't know about quarterbacks.
I think kickers probably a little bit easier than quarterbacks. Again, they did have some tryouts for quarterbacks yesterday again, but I mean, I made the point to you last week. The Niners, I think, could have handled their quarterback room. I would have liked to see them put a little bit more thought into this is a crazy thing to say, but the third string quarterback, knowing how the fact that the reason that Kyle Shanahan, I believe, still has a job is because of the success that he had with his third string quarterback. I feel like the Niners, they should have gone on into this season with three quarterbacks that they truly feel good about winning games with. They had obviously Brock Purdy, who they feel good with. They obviously had Mac Jones, who they felt very good with. Again, this is easier said than done. I'm not saying that finding these quarterbacks is easy, but I do think that more emphasis should have been put on that third string quarterback spot, that third quarterback spot. You know, they took Curtis Rourke, who they might be opening his practice window soon, but he was never really expected to be an option this year. They do have Adrian Martinez. He was okay when he was in college.
There are a lot of people that are big on him, that see him in practice, that I sort of rely on. They're like, this guy can actually move and throw the football.
No, it's funny you say it because, again, we did have Matt Lively on yesterday. We asked him, what's Adrian Martinez looking like when he's in practice? And here's what our guy Matt Lively, sports anchor for KPIX, he's down at every 49ers practice. Here's what he had to say about how Adrian Martinez looked at practice.
He was the only one throwing, him and Mick Lombardi. Adrian Martinez looked fine.
Do I think that he's going to start on Sunday? No. And I will say this. Everyone speaks really highly of Adrian Martinez. Robert Saleh went off on him yesterday about how great he is. And if you spend a little bit of time with him, how knowledgeable he is and how he's won everywhere he's been. So there's nothing against Adrian Martinez. Just you want Mac Jones starting on Sunday.
So I guess, yeah, to your point there, Dan, there is an optimism about him. And we don't know a lot about him. We almost saw him last Thursday in L.A. So if Adrian Martinez is that third-string quarterback that they do trust to that level, then I'll retract everything I'm saying right now. But until we know that for sure, like I feel like that is a situation the Niners should just take it a little bit more seriously until I'm wrong on that, which, hey, I'd be down to be wrong on that.
Yeah, I don't know how much you can invest on a third-string quarterback. I mean, I think that this is their investment. This is what they think is the best option. Again, because you're talking about salary caps, you got Mac Jones. The other thing about Mac Jones is everybody thinks that this is just an audition for him, and next year he's going to be sort of like what Sam Darnold was a year ago, and that he's going to sign a contract, and this is sort of a tryout, and he's going to go to an NFL football team that needs a starting quarterback. He has a 2-year deal. So you have, which works well for the 49ers, because if he plays well this season and he auditions well, he can't just walk. You can trade him.
Yeah.
So you can get some value back for Mac Jones. But I hear this all the time, man. I'm sorry. I keep going back to this. It's like, you shouldn't have paid Brock. You should not have paid Brock. And then to your point, you have to pay somebody at the end of the day. But I still think, and this could never happen, but I do believe, and I know you're not in on this. I'm going to piss a lot of people off for whatever reason they don't like
Piss them off, Dan.
But Sam Darnold was the guy that you needed to invest in. And I know Sam Darnold.
Well, now you piss me off.
Wow, dude.
I just don't think I'm ever going to be able to be a guy who can truly believe in Sam Darnold to that level. I think Sam Darnold can win you regular season games. The playoffs are a different animal. And
he played in one.
Brock had a rough go a little bit against the Packers, but for the most part, I think Brock has played well in the playoffs. I've said it ad nauseum. Brock is not one of the reasons why the 49ers lost that Super Bowl in Allegiant Stadium a couple of years ago. And I don't think that Sam Darnold carries this team to a Super Bowl in the way that Brock Purdy was able. Not carries. Let me retract that. I don't think Sam Darnold leads this team to a Super Bowl in the same way that Brock Purdy is able to. And Mac Jones, honestly, I'm not sure either. The lack of mobility, I think, is a big knock for me, because I do think Brock's been able to extend plays with his legs when the protection breaks down. He's able to make plays that way. And he pushes the ball downfield, I think, a lot better than people are willing to give him credit for, Brock Purdy. But again, getting back into the Mac aspect of this, though, because Mac has guided this offense in a way that in 3 games, the sample size looks as good as it ever has. I mean, we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo lead this offense very well. We don't know what Sam Darnold would have looked like running this offense. And obviously, we've seen Brock. Mac has definitely successfully led this offense to a degree that you should be trusting him. Niner fans should have all the trust in him right now. The question I have, Dan, we were asking, last segment, if Mac keeps winning, what do you do? Well, I'm kind of curious, as we go into Tampa, a team that blitzes a lot. Vita Vea is in the middle of that defensive line. He is an absolute beast on that defensive line. One of the best D tackles in the game. I expect he is licking his chops at the prospect of going against guys like Jake Brendel and Connor Colby. Against a rough pass rush, if Mac Jones has a rough day tomorrow in Tampa, then what do you do? I want to flip the question we asked on the previous segment.
And he's healthy at the end of the game?
Yeah, if Mac is healthy, and let's say Brock's status is still where it's at, where he's still progressing, he's not 100% yet. I guess the question I has Mac Jones played well enough to where he's kind of earned some leeway if he has a dud game? Are we going to, if he throws 2 interceptions tomorrow and the Niners lose and he's the reason, am I going to be taking phone calls on Monday of, nope, you got to go back to Brock, Mac's done, we're out on Mac.
Yeah, you're always going to take those phone calls.
Yeah, those are going to be there, but how widespread do you think? Has Mac earned enough leeway to where if he has a dud on the road against a playoff caliber team, are we holding that against them, or are we understanding the nuance of around everything that transpired?
I think absolutely he's your starter against Atlanta the following week.
Oh, I agree.
He's got to be your guy. And yes, it's not as though this guy hasn't played football before. We've seen him be good in the NFL his rookie year. And we've seen quarterbacks that have been able to flourish under Kyle Shanahan. This isn't, he may have a bad game, but I do think that there is substance to this, that this isn't just an outlier. And, a couple of games where, Mac Jones has lucked out and played well. This is real. Is he better than Brock Purdy? I agree with you, probably not. I think the one thing that Mac Jones does now that Brock Purdy used to do is that Mac Jones is as a backup quarterback, you always are. He has a very short leash with that of Kyle Shanahan. And one of the reasons why I think he's successful is that the ball comes out so quickly and that he's immediately going to his read. We talked about this. Kyle Shanahan is telling him, as he tells every quarterback, just listen to me. I'm going to scheme guys open, all right? You throw it to them. We will win, and guess what? You will get paid, or you will get an opportunity to be a starting quarterback somewhere else. Now, Brock Purdy used to buy into that when he was Mac Jones and or the backup quarterback and or the last guy taken in the NFL draft, where he was this wide-eyed guy and said, okay, yes, sir, no, sir, Kyle Shanahan. I think over the years, what's happened with Brock Purdy is that he's like, yeah, I'll do what you say, but I'm beginning to read my own headlines. I'm beginning to hear what Sam Lubin's saying about me. Yeah, I am sort of an athlete, and I have escapability. And what you're seeing him do now more than you saw, say, a couple of years ago is looking for that home run, is trying to extend plays. And now more than ever, I think you're seeing him trying to fit it into windows as opposed to, say, that first year or second or third year, or second year especially, where he was just Kyle Shanahan's pupil. Throw here, throw there. That's my first read. That's where it's going. I'm staying within the program. Now he's got a little swagger, and I think he's trying to hit the home run, and I think as a result, he's throwing a lot more interceptions. And Mac Jones is what Brock Purdy once was. And I think Brock Purdy, if he does come back, and when he does take over his job, I think that he needs to get back to being sort of what we've seen Mac Jones be over the last month.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think I've mentioned it a lot. It's been brought up a lot. Brock Purdy is he when he tries to do too much, especially late in games, he gets a little tight. I do think he gets in his own head a little bit. Brock is at his worst when he's trying to be Superman. He doesn't need to be Superman. He just needs to go out and, as you said, just get the job done. And I think what Brock is the reason that Brock's been the most successful at the reason that Brock Purdy has been the most successful of Kyle Shanahan's quarterbacks is because I think Brock just has the best understanding of Kyle Shanahan's offense. I think when it comes to decoding the Dead Sea Scrolls that is Kyle Shanahan's playbook, Brock has done it better than anyone else. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo ever had as much of a grasp on the playbook as Brock Purdy did, and Jimmy was very limited athletically as a quarterback, and that eventually caught up to him. I just don't think he was athletic enough to truly operate this offense correctly. And Mac Jones, I think, is closer to Jimmy than he is to Brock athletically. And so I am kind of curious how, as we see more tape of Mac Jones, and teams are able to kind of get more of a read in terms of what he can and cannot do in Shanahan's offense, I'm curious how that affects his play long term. We'll get to that eventually. But Brock Purdy does have that understanding. If he does keep it simple, and I do hope that his time away is allowing him to kind of reset his mind a little bit in that sense, I do hope that the lesson he takes away from this absence is dial it back just a notch on the field, let these things develop a little bit more, just do what the play asks of you, and don't try and mix and match stuff too much, because although I love that he does try to do that, because I think really great quarterbacks are able to make those adjustments at the line, I don't think that's really a feature of the Kyle Shanahan offense that he needs to be getting into in terms of switching things up the line like he tries to do.
Yeah, and I think once you get paid, you also are like, you know what? I'm not that little farm boy coming out of Iowa a couple of years ago. I got money, man. I'm one of those guys. I'm making $55 million a year. Yeah, Shanahan,
I can do this.
I know what it is that you want me to do, but there's more than I can do. You see how much money I'm making these days? Come on.
It's become, I think, now an annual tradition now over the last couple of years. Kyle Shanahan, when he does his pre-training camp appearance on the TK show, there's always a back and forth between Tim Kawakami and Kyle Shanahan about how much of the offensive responsibility is going to be given to Brock. The ability to make audibles at the line of scrimmage, change things up. Because remember, Kyle doesn't really like that. One of the reasons why it was believed that Kyle and Brady, the Tom Brady, that marriage never really happened was because Kyle Shanahan didn't want a quarterback who would come in and make a bunch of changes at the line of scrimmage. I think that's part of the reason. And that's always been kind of a back and forth there. Are you giving Brock that leeway? Or are you not giving Brock that leeway? And Shanahan's always kind of downplayed how little leeway Brock has, but at the same time, there's probably a belief on Brock's side that, as you said, Dan, once you get paid, once you are that guy, you want to show that you can take the offense to the next level on your own and you don't need the coach. Because Brock Purdy, I'm sure he heard during his MVP caliber season 23, he's just a system quarterback. It's the Shanahan system making him look good. Brock probably wants to break that narrative. And I respect that ability. Don't force it, though. And at the end of the day, who cares if you're a system quarterback? If you're a system quarterback in Kyle Shanahan's offense, that means you're a damn good quarterback. Because this system does make you a very good quarterback. Yeah. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo be a competent quarterback under this system. Sam Darnold might have been a competent quarterback under this system. We don't know. We never really got to see him in a real game.
I don't know why you're out on Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He would have been the best of all of them. But
no, unfortunately, we don't live in that timeline. We live in the worst timeline. And then we're seeing it right now with Mac Jones in terms of how Shanahan's system is turning him into a superstar. Well, not a superstar, but a very, very good quarterback. So you don't need to force it as Brock has been doing. I hope this time away does allow him to kind of come to that realization that just, it's like whenever you go on a first date, Dan, what do you always say? Just be yourself. That's all you got to do, Brock. Just be yourself. It's going to be all good.
I wanted to go somewhere with the first date. By the way, how's the love life out of nowhere?
It's happening.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure. I was hesitant to pull that trigger, but what the hell?
Your mind is in the gutter.
So, listen, it is Kyle Shanahan at the end of the day.
That was definitely a response to something Steiny said. That Evan drop right there. You want to play that again there, Steven?
Your mind is in the gutter.
Yeah, that's definitely a response to something Steiny said.
I was just talking about love life doesn't necessarily.
Oh my God, I'm salivating.
I mean,
I don't like that one at all.
It is, you're a man about town, and I know that you have.
Yeah, I have my good. I'm like Brock Purdy. I have my good days and my bad days.
All right,
as long as my toe's all good. Which right now my toe is good, so Yeah.
All right.
Oh, heck yeah.
Thank you.
Speaking of love lives.
So here's the thing. I think it is Kyle Shanahan at the end of the day, and I do think it's the system. Now, listen, is Brock Purdy a good quarterback? Yes. But you can't convince me that you went to a darn Super Bowl with your man Jimmy Garoppolo. There's no way in hell you could convince me that the same wouldn't happen with Sam Darnold. He wouldn't have ridiculous success as he's having with Seattle, as he had with Minnesota, with Kyle Shanahan. And there's a reason why Kyle Shanahan coveted him and brought him to San Francisco. You can't tell me that had he drafted Mac Jones in 2021, that the 49ers wouldn't have enjoyed as much, if not more, success with 4 years of having Kyle Shanahan blowing into your ear. So, yes, Brock Purdy has been good, but I think at the end of the day, it is Kyle Shanahan. I really do. And whether you want to call it the system, whatever, but you win with all of those quarterbacks. So I know Brock Purdy got paid, and he should feel very fortunate because you could have easily paid Mac Jones had you drafted him. You could have easily, again, to me, paid Sam Darnold, who I think would have been the best long-term option because that guy can look over a front four and deliver the football and not have it get batted down at the line of scrimmage. He can make all the throws. Sam Darnold, I'm telling you. And the other
Until
guy,
he throws it to the other team, which he did last week against the Bucs, because in the clutch, that's just what happens. Darnold, when it matters most, he turns into a pumpkin. We saw it in the playoffs last year. We saw it last week. That, at the end of the day, Dan, is why I just...
But Sam Darnold, one game in the playoffs.
It's been a couple games, and it's just...
Against the Los Angeles Rams, who had the most fierce pass rush and came out of nowhere.
Again, Brock didn't barf on himself in the way that Sam Darnold has.
Yeah, but that's... I don't think
I think that matters. I do think that matters.
I don't. I think... Okay, how's this? Why don't we have this conversation at the end of this year?
You do that.
And so when we see what Sam Darnold does for another team... All right, and if he puts together another successful season, and I will give it to you at the end of this year, if he barfs on himself again in the postseason, then there's something there.
I think again,
but I think one game against the Los Angeles Rams, after what it is that he did throughout the regular season, isn't fair. And when you look at that dude, again, you cannot dismiss 6'4" being able to make all those throws. That throw. I want everyone to bring it up. If you have an opportunity and you're near YouTube or you can get on, if you have a device in front of you.
We all have our phones in our hands right now.
Go back to when the Niners played the Minnesota Vikings and the Vikings are backed up on their own 3-yard line and he throws a pass, which to this day I still don't understand the physics of it. He looks as though he's throwing it from me to you. It is the softest, easiest release of a ball that traveled like it was a punt, for crying out loud. I mean, he flipped the field with this damn thing. It went like 75 yards in the air. There are few guys that can do that. Now, strong-arm quarterbacks, again, what do they mean at the end of the day? But he's also very smart and can go through the progression that exactly what Kyle Shanahan wants. Mm-hmm. It's like the man with two brains. That's a Steve Martin shout out. Like, I can have the perfect woman and the brains as well. Like, that's who he is. Like, Kyle Shanahan doesn't have to compromise. Well, Brock Purdy is so good, and he can exercise my offense. But, you know, he's not the prototypical quarterback. I wish he was a little taller, and I wish his arm was a little bit stronger. Mac Jones. I wish Mac Jones had the sort of – because Mac Jones' arm strength is sort of meh, but he's smart. Sam Darnold gave you all of that. Now, he's not the sort of athlete. Maybe Brock Purdy runs a faster 40 than –
well, again, yeah, Brock's more mobile, which, again, I bring that up a lot, but it's a big part of it. The upside
was Sam Darnold being your guy that can do all of these things as far as throwing a football and then implementing your innovative offense. That's what Kyle Shanahan drools over. And he missed the guy. It didn't work out, right? They were passing ships. But that's the guy I think long-term who the 49ers should have invested in. I know it's just me. For whatever reason, you and a lot of people hate
Do you really
Sam
want
Darnold.
I don't know if Sam Darnold behind this offensive line would really look that good right now either. I mean, it's...
Well, if Mac Jones can look good, Sam Darnold good. They're basically the same guy in terms of athleticism.
I mean, Sam Darnold had one of the best offensive lines in football last year, and he still got sacked 48 times. Like... That's hard to do when you have a offensive line that is as good as the one that he had.
Would you say his athleticism is about the same on par with Mac Jones?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit, yeah.
So, I mean, it's exactly that. I think that he would be doing exactly what Mac Jones is doing, except he's got, again, a cannon for an arm. And they're about the same height, aren't they? About 6'4", I'd say. Mac Jones, don't you think Mac Jones is a deceptive 6'4"?
So, yeah, so Sam Darnold's listed as 6'3", whereas Mac Jones is
also 6'3".
listed also at 6'3". Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. I haven't seen them stand next to each other, so
It seems like Sam Darnold is a lot taller.
Sam Darnold does look like a little bit. Yeah, he's 6'3", 225. Mac Jones is 6'3", 220. So they're basically the same size overall. But, you know, Sam Darnold's hair maybe a little bit taller.
The mustache does not work on that guy.
On Darnold? I didn't know he was going to go.
I mean, I don't mind. Like, going retro and bringing things back, I'm all for it. I'm wide open. The mustache just does not work for me. I don't know.
Some people.
Are you good with the mustache? If you were
I don't do the mustache, no. That does not really work for me as well.
All right.
So. Next week I'll have one.
You're going full-on beard these days, Boston.
Yeah.
Right. Is the girlfriend?
I'll bring a mustache next time. She does like it.
If the girlfriend said,
there you go. If the girlfriend likes it, that's all you need.
She told you to shave, would you?
I have shaved, and it did not go well.
So I'm just kind of looking up some, as we're talking here, just looking up some of the numbers in terms of, you know, on-target throws and stuff like that between Darnold and Brock and Mac Jones. Of the three, who do you think has the highest per Football Reference? Who do you think has the highest on-target percentage of those three in their career? Acknowledging that the careers are not the same.
Yes, the career on Sam Darnold and Mac Jones, the first 3 years.
Well, again, there's a little bit longer time, but again, I'll just say it. Brock Purdy has 77% career on-target throw percentage. Mac Jones right behind him at 75. Sam Darnold is 62% in terms of his on-target throw percentages. So
Did you see him his first 3 years with the Jets?
I mean, that doesn't. Being on the Jets doesn't impact your ability to throw the ball inaccurately. That's just you being inaccurate.
When you lose confidence, I mean, come on. When you go to New York, all things out the door.
I mean,
when Adam Gase says, "Welcome, I am going to teach you how to be a football player." I'm sorry, man. I'm not going statistic heavy on anything that poor Sam Darnold did the first 3 years in his career. And then after that, it's like, Matt Rule, let me teach you how to be a quarterback down here.
I don't think accuracy is impacted by what team you're on, but that's just me.
Well, he's accurate as hell right now.
He is having a good year this year. I will say that.
All right. We continue on 95.7 in the game. Guess what time it is? Say, you know what, Sam? I'm going to let you do it. I'm going to let you do it.
You let me do what?
Well, it's time for the Warriors. I'm not a, you know.
Oh, you want me to pull up the Kuminga crisis?
Yeah, we'll do that on the next.
Can't do it.
I got it right here.
Oh, my God. Kuminga crisis.
Never gets old. Kuminga had a quiet week this week, though.
It's next. 95.7 the game.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th, new Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and auto pay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
In San Diego, kids are standing up against big tobacco.
We are here to discuss the urgent issue of vapes being sold near schools and other places where people gather.
I was enticed, like so many others my age, and this is exactly how the tobacco market was trying to get me to react, and I was completely unaware.
Today, over 100 California communities restrict tobacco sales near youth spaces, like schools and parks. Learn how these teens and other Californians are beating big tobacco at undo.org.
Are you interested in being an install or service technician? Good news! R&S Doors and Gates is hiring. If you have good mechanical skills and a knowledge of power tools, welding, and motor controls, you should apply today. R&S Doors has openings to repair and install commercial overhead doors, entry doors, and loading dock equipment. You must be able to work in a professional, fast-paced environment. Call 800-FIX-A-DOOR and apply today. That's 800-FIX-A-DOOR or visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Red and Gold Game Day starts at Laughing Monk Brewing. Park for free. Enjoy amazing food, ice-cold beer, and every game on TV. Catch 95.7 The Game's pregame show. Then hop on the free shuttle straight to the stadium. Sign up now at 957thegame.com.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen.
I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now. Promo code RADIO.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Now back to 95.7 The Game.
I just thought we'd sit here and listen to music for the next half hour.
I was looking for the rejoin.
I love that, man. Pasta won't join us next week. He'll be gone because, he's
got his own plans.
He's got his own thing going on. By the way,
he's a very busy man, that Steven Risotto.
You're a big Halloween guy, aren't you?
I dabble.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest.
You're a haunted house guy. You like the haunted house.
I'll do the haunted house. Haunted house, for those wondering, great date idea. But no, my thing is I always wait till the last second to find a costume, and then I can't find a costume that I like, and then I just throw my hands up and I'm like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. So, yeah, that's kind of how Halloween goes for me.
You know, Halloween.
I like Thanksgiving more.
I
can just eat much football.
I had a buddy, man, and he's obviously he's older. He's got a wife, and this is last week. And so he went to Duke. My buddy wanted to be a spy. Isn't that pretty crazy? This is like during the Cold War.
Like, actually, okay, that's
in Russia,
understandable.
espionage. And so he went into a ROTC program, and he went to Duke because he wanted to be this spy. So he went to Duke. His son goes to Cal. So he was at the Duke-Cal game like you last week.
Okay.
And he said he's sitting there with his wife, and he just says all these girls that are walking by these days, he's like, Dan, it's not like we were back in college. It's like these women, what they're wearing these days. And he's just, his head's on his swivel, and his wife is just slapping him every 5 seconds. Like, come on, what are you doing, you creep? But I went there because Halloween was always that opportunity for women, and I guess men as well, just to sort of like go a little above and beyond. It's like, it's Halloween, so I'm just going to dress.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous is a kind way of putting it.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep, we are on the radio here, so, keep it PG.
That's the one thing that sort of stood out to me.
That's your one thing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. Halloween, there's the cutest thing on YouTube, man. I don't know how I saw this. I think it was because I'm a Jimmy Kimmel guy. And so, and I know that's saying a lot these days.
Yeah, I got nothing with it.
Down any political lines. But so Jimmy Kimmel, does this thing where he pretends he steals all the Halloween candy from his kids. And so he started this thing.
What a monster.
And then it sort of went viral where people will do this online. And so this one woman,
that's messed up.
Her 2 little girls come home from school. And he says, guys, I've got the worst news. When you're a kid and you come home because you take the Halloween candy. It's like, okay, I'm going to put this away and we'll eat this throughout the week. We're not going to have any tonight. And she's like, I'm sorry, girls. I ate all of the Halloween candy. And I'm not a schmaltzy guy. I don't get in. I'm kind of like W.C. Fields when you talk about kids. Dan, how do you like kids? Only if they're properly cooked. I'm not to that extent. But like, I'm not a big, cheesy when it comes to kids and breaking out. Oh, my little boy yesterday, he hit a 2-run home run. It was the greatest thing in the world. What's that song? Son came home from college the other day and turned into a man.
Oh, the Cat's in the Cradle?
Cat's in the Cradle.
And the Silver Spoon. Little boy
I don't want to be
blue and the man in the moon.
But these 2 kids, I want you to Google this. These 2 kids, or put it on YouTube.
I've seen the videos, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The 2 where she says,
and then they like cuss out the parent.
No, these 2 kids, these 2 little kids are like, oh, but what about the candy we got from school? She's like, oh, I ate that too.
The backup candy.
And, oh, it's okay. We can go trick or treating tonight. And she's like, no, it's only once a year. And they're like, but it's okay, Mom. And they give the mom a hug.
Aww.
And it's no, it really is one of those. It tugs at your heart. These two little kids are like, what?
See, that one I haven't seen. I've seen the one where they cuss out the mom.
Screw those guys. I'm talking about these two cute little kids are just like, and finally the mom's like, you guys are the sweetest ever. I mean, it is really one of those moments. It's the only time I get that smolty, watching these two little kids and this darling little girl who just is like, finally they get so happy when they realize Mom didn't crush their candy.
Okay, see, I saw the other one where the kids are like, Mom, you bleep, bleep, bleep. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I think one of Kimmel's did.
Yeah, that's obviously with the reaction that you are going for. Some of the pranks that parents put on kids, Dan, are just totally weird. Like, there's this one prank I saw where this woman act like
don't prank kids. You can do that, but don't prank kids.
There's one
the scream mask in the preschool.
Oh yeah, that's a fireable. If that teacher did get fired, there's like this preschool teacher that was like terrorizing the 5-year-olds with the scream. Like the kids are just screaming out the top of their lungs with just complete fear, and the teacher's like, "Oh, this is funny for me." Yeah, they're not employed anymore. Just like parents faking injuries to get a rise out of their kids. Like some of these things are just like, come on, think about what we're doing to our kids here. But I remember when I trick or treated though, I wasn't like, I didn't eat a ton of the candy afterwards. For me, I just like the haul. I just want to see how much candy I could get. I need to eat it all. It was more just the thrill of the heavy bag. When you get home, you dump it out and the candy goes everywhere. Like I was more of a trophy hunter than I was a candy hunter as a Halloween trick or treater, if that makes any sense.
Pasta, any outfits or costumes? I mean, you were trick or treating about a year ago, right?
Yeah, I just finished a year ago. Now I stopped probably. Once I got older, I just started putting on a jersey. I just said, you know what?
Well, that's not dressing up. That's just what you do on a normal everyday life.
I think one year we had a Halloween baseball thing in high school, and I was Rick Vaughn, and it was quite the thing. And I pitched in the game, and I put the glasses on in the back of the mound, and I came out.
That's actually pretty cool.
Like, if you could hit it, you could rename it. I told the hitter, and it was a good time.
Not bad.
I dressed as Tim Lincecum one year. I had the fake Lincecum hair, and I put it on, and they had the Lincecum jersey, and I went to school. Full on, like this was Halloween 2010, so they were in the World Series at the time.
Halloween 2010, I was Tim Lincecum.
Oh, look at us!
I was in 3rd grade. Dan Devon.
Wow! So you look probably more like him than I did then. At that age,
there was a Tim Lincecum. So Tim Lincecum. One of the reasons why I love that first Giant team that won a World Series, it was sort of like the Oakland Raiders back in the day when the Raiders used to hang out with the team, like hang out in the city and drink with the people.
They're one
of
our own. Yeah.
Ricky's Hyatt House used to have you would see Stabler and the boys and twos throwing them back. They were part of the people. They were part of that blue collar community out there in Oakland. Part of that. Well, it's a lot of money out in Oakland these days.
In the hills.
Yeah, Alameda Island and all those. All right, well, so there used to be a guy who was a Tim Lincecum lookalike on Union Street.
Oh, really?
Lincecum used to roll on Union Street. He used to have crash pad there. All of those guys used to hang out with the people after they won that World Series. But there was a guy that used to walk around Union Street during that time, and you would see him in bars. He's like, is that Lincecum? Everybody used, and he used to just mess with people. And it was more than just the long hair. He had the similar build, same facial features. I think a lot of people would groove him with drinks. But those were the days with the Giants. I know you like to talk Giants. Back then when the Giants were rolling around Chestnut Street and Union Street and were part of the community and throwing them back with the people, who was the outfielder? Pat Burrell.
Oh, Pat Burrell, Canes legend,
yeah,
current hitting coach.
He used to have,
still employed as the hitting coach, I believe, right now. Is he still employed, Steven?
For now.
Yeah, he is, for now. Till next manager.
Well, I hope we move past that, because once they started to hit, where did that conversation
Well, yeah, no one started giving Pat Burrell credit for that. But, I remember my run-in with Pat Burrell one time. This was at the Guardsman dinner in February of 2011. My dad got an invite. He brought me with him. And there's going to be a bunch of Giants players there. And, of course, they had just won the World Series. And I was applying for colleges at the time, and I'd just gotten my application deferment letter from the University of Miami, so I applied early action. So you apply early, you get in early, or you can apply later on and just get in with everybody else. So I applied early, and I guess my grades weren't good enough to get in early. And so I got a letter from them saying, we deferred your application to regular admittance you'll find out whether or not you're in come March or something like that. And I was really hoping I was going to get an acceptance letter that day instead of a deferment. It was whatever. So I brought my deferment letter because I knew Pat Burrell and potentially Aubrey Huff back when that was a big thing, was going to be there. And so we're in this big, gathering room or whatever, this big ballroom, and there's an open bar. And I see Pat coming up towards me. I'm like, oh, I got to get him to sign my application deferment letter. So I go up and say, hey, Pat, I'm trying to go to University of Miami. Can you sign my letter here? He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. He scribbles it and pushes me aside and goes right to the bar and gets himself a beer. And so, yeah, that was my run-in with Pat Burrell. Yeah, I think I asked him, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to go to the U. And he's like, oh, I don't remember them calling it that when I was there. I'm like, I don't think you remember anything that happened when you were there.
Time. So my buddy used to run the Phoenix Open, and he had Pat Burrell. I'll just leave it at that. My buddy liked to have a good time, and he and Pat Burrell,
another guy who likes to have a good time,
they played around, and I'm not going to get into details. Let's just say Pat Burrell goes hard, my buddy goes hard, and it was By the way, the Phoenix Open, and we'll get into the Golden State Warriors. Do they still have it, by the way? It was the most off-the-hook golf course on the PGA Tour every year. The fans were Tiger Woods. Stop going to the Phoenix Open. He's like, it's ridiculous. He holed out. I think it was the 14th. He had a hole-in-one. They went so crazy. They literally, it's like a college football mentality. People are so liquored at this thing, and they rushed the course. They're throwing beer on Tiger's like, I am never playing here again.
So it's like Happy Gilmore, basically.
It's like, I'm never playing on this course again. And he hasn't. I don't think he's gone back to the Phoenix Open. For any of you that lean that way, where's Caddy Zach when we need him? Caddy Zach smoking those funny cigarettes out in Oregon today?
He's in Eugene.
All right.
By the way, February 2nd through the 8th,
there you
Phoenix
go.
Open.
That's right. Yeah,
they call it the People's Open. So that sounds about right.
If you can find that Tiger Woods hole-in-one back in the day, it's ridiculous. They're just like headbutting each other. Like, what's going on here? All right.
By the way, Pat Burrell, Bellarmine alumni.
Yes, San Jose.
Local
Proud
guy.
of San Jose. The hell with Bellarmine though. Bells. The hell.
Such a weird name for
right?
a team.
Bellarmine, St. Francis. All I know is the city, man.
SI.
I don't get into that WCAL stuff.
As much as I hate Reardon, at least you're out there on Ocean Avenue and Beeb's Burgers. As much as I hate Sacred Heart, at least you're down there by the cathedral, and I can relate to you. What the hell's going on in Mountain View? Aside from our caller. What's our caller's name?
Jan.
How are you, by the way, today, Jan?
Oh, heck yes.
There you go.
I mean, bring it on, man.
I was referring to you, Jan.
Oh, I'm doing great,
Thank
Dan.
you. All right. Jesus. It's your one moment, your one opportunity, and you blow it there, kid.
There you go.
All right, can we get into the Golden State Warriors?
Let's talk a little about the Warriors. What do you want to say about the Warriors? They're playing preseason games this week.
Oh, I forgot the theme music. I'll get with you during the break. Actually, you keep talking, Sam, and I'll whisper in his ear.
Well, what kind of theme music do we want?
No. You just talk about the Warriors. Your thoughts on preseason? Seriously, what are your early takeaways?
Well, I got invited to the game on on Wednesday night at Chase Center against the Blazers. They did come back. They ended up winning that. Scored 51 in the fourth there, but I only stayed for the first three quarters because morning producer life. I gotta get home and get tucked into bed and all that stuff. But the first three quarters, I kept saying, it's like, yep, this is preseason. This is preseason. It was. I don't want to say that the effort was bad, Dan, but the effort was pretty bad.
Who's your starting five?
My starting five right now, I think I'm going to go with Steph Curry. I think he's good. He'll be in there. I like Moses Moody.
You think he's good? He'll be in there?
I think he's got a career in there. I think he's got a future in this league. I have a sneaking suspicion. Moses Moody, I like him.
You got him at the two.
I got him in there, yeah.
All right. Now, DeAnthony Melton is obviously hurt, so you're not. You like Pods coming off the bench.
I think Pods is your sixth man. Well, I want to talk about Pods in a little bit, too. And then, I think you go in with Draymond and Jimmy as your forwards, and then probably Al Horford as your starting. So you're going to be starting the old guys almost every night. Now, Al Horford, he's not going to be doing back-to-backs, so that's 15 games right off the bat, because I believe the Warriors have 15 back-to-backs. See how those numbers correlate. So that's 15 games that he will not be playing in, because Horford will not be playing on the second half of back-to-backs. So I do kind of wonder if the Warriors go with Quentin Post in those games where Al Horford isn't starting, Or do they maybe go with a smaller lineup with Draymond at the 5? And then at that point, do you go with maybe Steph, Moody, and Pods? Or
I think you'll see a lot of that smaller lineup.
Probably a lot of that smaller lineup, because the other lineup I was to suggest was if you move Draymond to the 5, well, then maybe you put Jonathan Kuminga in that starting lineup. I don't know. I feel like Kuminga's going to be coming off the bench a lot more this year. I do like the Kuminga, Jimmy Horford trio that Kerr wants to try a lot of this year. There were some moments. I do think that Jimmy and Kuminga, they're trying to make it work. Jimmy wants to make it work with him. There was a moment in the game on Wednesday where it looked like Jimmy was trying to drive in. He wanted to kick it back to Kuminga for the slam, and ball ended up going out of bounds. You saw Jimmy go right up to Kuminga and be like, hey, it happens. Don't worry about it. Shake it off and move on. So I'm optimistic about the Warriors making it work with Kuminga this year, only because I really want to see that kid bounce back and have a good year this year in what will be his 5th year, I believe, especially after the summer that Kuminga had.
Yeah.
I want him to have a successful year, and I think Warrior fans should be rooting for this too, for him to have a successful year. It benefits the Warriors a lot if he's good. I do think the Warriors want to be competitive in the West. They need a good Jonathan Kuminga in order to do that, because, Dan, this is an old team.
No.
They are an old, by basketball standards, an old team. They need these guys, Moody, Pods, Kuminga, Post. You need the youthful energy that they're going to be injecting into this team if they want to be successful.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot more about Jonathan Kuminga coming up in just a bit. But let's continue with the Warriors talk.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Off to the phone lines. Mark's hanging out in San Francisco. Welcome to the show. Mark, how are you?
I'm good, gentlemen. I heard a good rumor that I'm really excited about, and that's Corey Kispert coming to the Warriors.
Where'd you hear that rumor at?
I've been reading it online.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, Kuminga for Kispert, and he's perfect fit for the Warriors. Perfect.
Yeah, he's a perfect fit because he's a shooter and he's tall, but he's not a good defender. Corey Kispert has a lot of holes. And you're not – the one thing about Jonathan Kuminga, if you were just to compare the two straight up, is that Jonathan Kuminga has that ability when things get stagnant or stall where he can take you off the dribble, right? Like he can break you down. And the Warriors don't have a lot of those guys, especially at the wing. Somebody that can create something out of nothing. You're not going to get that from Kispert. Kispert is a good basketball player, but I think you're going to lose something in terms of the athleticism, especially if Jonathan Kuminga gets unlocked and an opportunity to be that guy. But he might fit in terms of what it is that Steve Kerr's doing. I'd have to give that a lot more thinking, but, thanks for the call, Mark, hanging out in the city. Look at the Jonathan Kuminga talk. I don't think he's going to be here this time next year. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to get dealt. It seems to be a foregone conclusion. I'm watching him in the preseason. He looks like the exact same Jonathan Kuminga. It's like he's in his own head. He's purposely trying to pass the ball too much. Like he's trying to get other guys involved.
Wasn't the knock last year that he didn't pass enough?
Yeah, but the issue with him is exactly the same, is that he thinks he's a number one. And he wants the offense to go through him. If not a number one, then a number two. Just let me cook. Let me use my athleticism. And when they do that, when Steph and Draymond are off the floor, or when they're both hurt, go look it up. Statistically, he has his best games because Steve Kerr says, I need you to do one thing. Score. Be you. That's what he can do. When he doesn't have to look over his shoulder after making a turnover or running into a guy at 100 miles an hour and committing another charge, if he knows that he's going to be on the floor, can make mistakes, and just be an athlete like he was after Steph got hurt against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the playoffs, and basically they went to him and said, listen, we need someone who's going to score. Kuminga's like, I got that. Like, when he's that guy, he's a good basketball player. I think he can be the Jonathan Kuminga we always envisioned. The problem is it's the Warriors, and he has to fit within a structure. Yeah. And he's always looking over his shoulder. And after a turnover, he's like, do I come out of the game? Not only that, if it's not Steve Kerr, he's deferring to Steph Curry because he knows if Curry's on the floor, I can't take over. The legend's here. And if he makes a mistake with Draymond Green, he knows he's going to get that stink eye from Draymond. He's in his own head. He's got to go. And that's not pointing a finger at Steve Kerr and the Warriors. It's not saying, Jonathan Kuminga, it's on you. It's not working here, and we've seen enough of this. And this year, watching him in the preseason, it just reminded me that you're going to see the exact same thing this year. And what is that? it means there's going to be flashes of brilliance. We're going to be like, oh, man, can you be that guy every night? And then there's going to be the mistakes. There's going to be nights when he needs to fit in, and he's deliberately going to try and pass the ball and can't be himself. And there's going to be times where he doesn't play. There's going to be times when he plays well. He'll go in the doghouse, in and out. He's going to be looking over. It's going to be the same crap. Every year we're like, is this the year? Is this the year he breaks out? No, this is going to be more the same. And as a result, I don't know if he's getting traded for Corey Kispert, but he would get dealt. So, Pasta, are you ready? So I really want to get the fans excited. And I'll get into my thoughts of the Golden State Warriors because this is my first, full opportunity to address this team. But usually at the beginning of the year, you have some sort of theme song to get people jacked up, right?
Okay.
Here come the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, some
Your 2025 Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, like a rally, like a hype video.
Yeah, they used to play, back in the day, they used to play the Rolling Stones, Start Me Up, and the crowd used to go nuts.
Well, also, I mean, if you want to do WWE, was no worries. That's
Exactly.
so-and-so's music,
Thank
and like Stone Cold comes out, Roman Reigns comes out. They all have their entry
Roman
music.
Reigns, good knowledge.
Yeah. Or the Shield.
So
I know things.
I have got the perfect theme song for this year's 2025 Golden State Warriors. Posse, get the crowd going. Oh my God.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Mm.
Mm. I like this. I like this vibe. Why this song?
Do you know what this is?
I'm terrible with song names, so you're gonna have to help me out on this one.
It is the opening to Sanford & Son.
Ah, okay.
And it was done by Quincy Jones.
I don't think I've ever seen Sanford & Son.
Well, all you need to do is see the opening. When Fred Sanford comes out of his junkyard, his antique shop.
All right, I'm gonna watch it right now and see
he
how it
just
applies.
sort of waddles. That is sort of who I knew it would predate you, Sam. But for those of you that can go back to Lamont and Fred Sanford, this will be my theme song anytime I'm fortunate enough to have a live mic in 95.7 The Game. We buy and sell junk, says the text line.
All right, so I see it. So he sits down in his chair.
That's the Golden State Warriors right there. That's
there
the
you go.
energy.
He opens up with Red Fox. Oh, I didn't know Red Fox. Okay, Red Fox is in that. I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and the little truck pulls up. Yeah, there's a little bit of like Horford drives up in his Sanford & Son.
That's Lamont. I don't know the actor's name.
Desmond Wilson.
All right, well, let's
Demon
get back into it and talk a little more serious sort of back and forth with the Golden State Warriors. Phone lines are open at 888-957-9570. We always enjoy the coach who's hanging out in Vallejo, wants to talk about
Love the
John
coach.
McMahon. What's up, Coach?
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm getting a little weary of the Pods, Love, and the Kuminga nitpicking. I think Pods, when you say he's the sixth man, if Pods is your sixth man, you don't have a very good team, okay? He only plays 25 minutes a game for Steve Kerr. No one else in the NBA. He's a marginal NBA player. Now, Kuminga, I agree with you in the sense, let him play his game. Kerr needs to learn how to incorporate that. They do need him. So I want to see more love for Kuminga. He's a great young man, great young athlete. He makes no more mistakes than any other player on the team, and he's under a microscope. Get him from under that microscope. Let him play his game. He'll be fine.
Coach, well said.
I agree with Coach 100%.
It's not going to happen here, Coach. It's just not going to happen here. He's got to go, and that's where we're at. I like Kuminga, but it's not going to happen with Steve Kerr, and it's not going to happen with this team. He can't be himself.
I thought it was what he said just there. No one else is playing Pods as much as Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr loves himself some Pods.
I agree with that. But here's the thing. Like, my stance on Pods, and we're up against this. We can get into the other side. But, like, I think Pods is a good basketball player. Like, I do think he's good. I think there's a disconnect from where, like, he sees himself up here. For those who are listening on the auditory medium, I'm holding my hand above my head right now. He thinks he's up here, where I think he's more down here as I hold my hand right below my nose. And then there's a lot of people who think he's down here as I hold my hand, beneath my chin. So there is a disconnect in terms of, I think, what kind of a player he is. But I think Brandon Podziemski could be a useful player on a team that is competing for a championship. And each team needs those guys. Like
a role player.
Yeah, like Sean Livingston was a role player for the Warriors, and we love S-Dot. You can carve out great roles as an NBA role player. I don't think Pods is a future All-Star. I don't think he's a guy you give the keys to the franchise to, and we can get into that on the other side. But he is a good, serviceable bench player, 6-man, 7th-man, whatever you want to call him. He could give you positive basketball.
But I think the issue that Coach and others have, and we'll get to the break, Pasta, is that the love affair that Kerr specifically has with this one guy.
And that is the whole he's up here thing that's where my beef with the Pods love comes into.
We'll talk much more about it with Sam Lubman and Dan Avone on 95.7 The Game.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know. Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
Don't watch the game alone on your tiny screen. Ghostwood Kitchen is the ultimate destination for every major sporting event. They have huge screens, energetic atmosphere, and ice-cold craft beer. Their bar is ready to pour your favorite drink, and the menu is packed with delicious game day food perfect for sharing. Bring your team spirit, rally your friends, and catch every single moment with us at Ghostwood Kitchen, where the game is always on. And when the game is not on, we have the arcade to keep you going. Ghostwood Kitchen, 911 Main Street in Redwood City.
We finally switched to T-Mobile because with them, we can be connected here and there.
¡Listos todos! Estas son las mañanas.
Now we just need to harmonize.
Switch today. Get 4 Samsung Galaxy S25 phones with Galaxy AI. Plus, get 4 lines for just $25 per line. Visit a store, T-Mobile.com, or call 1-800-T-Mobile. 1-800-T-Mobile. For well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Minimum 4 lines on plan. Contact us if canceling lines. Plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
This is Larry Flick, owner of The Floor Store. Leaves are falling, and so are our prices. Welcome to The Floor Store's Fall Sale. Now through October 14th. Get up to 50% off store-wide on carpet, hardwood, laminate, waterproof flooring, and much more. Plus 2 years interest-free financing. And we pay your sales tax. The Floor Store's Fall Sale. There's just one thing. It ends Tuesday. Go to floorstores.com to find the nearest of our 10 showrooms, from Santa Rosa to San Jose. The Floor Store, your Bay Area flooring authority.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed. Which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line.
Dub Nation, this is Jimmy Butler, and you never know when I'll be on the River Islands guest line.
Dub Nation, this is Stephen Curry, and you never know when I'll be on the River Islands guest line. So make sure to keep it locked on 95.7 The Game.
River Islands in Lathrop is the best-selling master plan community in all of Northern California, with its lakes, parks, trails, and collection of new home neighborhoods. The good life can be your life. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands?
I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. I slept in a lot of different rooms, but none of them really felt like mine.
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a permanent home.
Now I have my own room, a place that's mine, and a family who loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See? Doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo?
Absolutely not. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
See comedian Daniel Tosh performing live at the Masonic in San Francisco on November 29th. The first show sold out, and the second was just added. Buy tickets at livenation.com. For your chance to win a pair of tickets to the second show, enter online at 957thegame.com.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Make my heart sing.
We're just talking about Charlie Sheen.
What was that?
I guess this was from the...
Jeez.
Is this from the movie? Thank God it's censored.
Are you kidding me?
You never know with Steven Risotto on the board.
That's what I love, Pasta. You just seriously, you have to be on guard, man.
I guess that bed was from the movie, and that was.
It sounded like it. Well, I mean, the actual version of Wild Thing doesn't hit quite as hard as it's played out on the loudspeakers at Milwaukee County Stadium, where they actually filmed the movie.
When it's you and your little friend Potty Zach.
Potty Zach? Potty Zach? He's probably stumbling around trying to find a potty right now.
I call them the producers of chaos when those two are together, because you just never know. They're just beautiful men. All right, we're talking about the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, speaking of producers of chaos, the Warriors.
Yeah, so the Warriors in the preseason continues. It's an old basketball team, and I think it sort of begins and ends there, man. I mean, I hope this team does well. I hope they surprise some people. I'm trying to see how this.
Did you see Kevin Pelton with ESPN? He always does every year a win projection for around the league based off of various statistical figures and whatnot. He had the Warriors at 56 wins.
Yeah, you mentioned
that's what he projected it at, and that just seems like
he's hanging out with Caddy Zach in Oregon, hitting that bong really hard.
Oh, man, that sounds like a good time up there in Eugene. But a lot of that is based off of the record the Warriors had after the Jimmy Butler trade.
Yeah.
In the numbers they put up there. And the problem I have with using that as your reference here, Dan,
because they finished with 22-4 or something. Really,
yeah. Here,
since Jimmy came on board.
Yeah, let me pull up the actual numbers. Yeah, they're 25-26 pre-trade, and they went 23-8 post-trade. They outscored teams on average 117-108 with Jimmy in the lineup. So this is not groundbreaking stuff. Jimmy Butler made the Warriors a lot better,
no doubt.
But the issue I have with this whole thing of, when you look at the way they finish, they can just keep that going into next year. When you look closer at the schedule that the Warriors played post Jimmy Butler, there are some concerns in that a lot of the notable wins that the Warriors had during that time, there's what I like to call a yeah but attached to it. As in, the Warriors got a great win against the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee on February 10th of last year. Yeah, but Giannis wasn't playing. The Warriors got a pretty nice win in Houston 3 days later. Yeah, but Fred VanVleet wasn't playing. The New York Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals, Dan. The Warriors swept the series against the New York Knicks. Yeah, but the game in New York, Karl Anthony Towns wasn't playing. The game out here, Jalen Brunson wasn't playing. A lot of their best wins came against teams that were not full strength. That's not their fault, the Warriors, that is. You play the schedule that you have in front of you, and they still have to take care of business, but it does kind of take away from when you see, wow, they beat the Knicks in New York. Yeah, but they weren't full strength, and I think that does kind of take some of the shine off of it. That said, though, they did beat the Bucks at Chase Center on the 18th when they were full strength. They got a win against the full-strength Lakers on April 3rd. They got another full-strength win against the Nuggets on April 4th. So they did have some good wins, but when you point at the schedule they had post-Jimmy Butler trade last year and say, well, if they did that then, that'll keep going into next year. If that's the reason why you're thinking the Warriors are going to, shock the world and finish with 55-plus wins, I'm pumping the brakes on that kind of enthusiasm.
Well, you can understand the logic.
That's what we have to go off of.
There's no doubt that when Jimmy Butler joined this basketball team, they immediately overnight became better.
Oh, yeah.
He infused them with an entirely different mentality that started on the defensive end. Suddenly they were shooting free throws. They went from one of the worst teams that never shot free throws to like number 2 in the NBA. And that was all because of one guy. The Jimmy Butler trade or the Jimmy Butler acquisition was one of, in a long line of good moves, I think, on the part of Dunleavy at the very top. And so it makes sense to build off of the momentum and the enthusiasm that one player created a year ago. Here's the flaw in that. It's not so much that they played teams that didn't have their best players. It's that it was just for a month or so. It was just for a brief snapshot. The issue I have with the Warriors going forward with Jimmy Butler is it sustainable? Can you do it over 82 games? Can you do it for an extended period of time? Now, he was good in 30 games, 31 games. But what happened when we got to the postseason? Suddenly, Jimmy Butler could be really good one night, but the next night against Minnesota or the next game against Minnesota, he would disappear. And what does that tell you? It's telling me that this is what happens when players get to the wrong side of 35, is that you cannot reach down in the bag and do it as frequently as you once did. And so while I can be good for a month and while I can be good for over a period of time, if you stretch me over the length of what the playoffs turn out to be like 2 months of basketball, I will be exposed. And that's the issue I have with the Warriors, that yes, what you saw at the end of last season was very real. They were a good basketball team, well over 500 with Jimmy Butler. But if you play it out over an extended period of time, they are a team that can be exposed, and they're a team that has a lot of weaknesses because these guys at some point lose their legs and at some point can no longer be the basketball players they once were. They can run it up there once in a while. But again, to do that in that battle of attrition, that is an NBA season for 6 months, and then do it for another month and a half, that is the postseason, I just don't see the scenario. I mean, please, somebody convince me that it can happen or give me some precedence here.
Well, I think part of what you're going at there is, again, this is going to be one of the more experienced playoff teams once you do get to that point of the season here, Dan. You got, again, I still subscribe to the belief that if you have Steph, you have a chance. That's always going to be there. And when the playoffs start, if you were to do a survey of all the other playoff teams and ask, hey, who's the one team in this bracket you don't want to run into? Some teams might say, the Thunder. Some teams might say, the Bucks or something in the East. I don't know who's going to win the East right now when you consider the Pacers and Celtics lost 2 of their best players.
The Knicks.
With the Knicks, they could be the standard bearers of the East. That's a weird thing to say. But to that point, though, it's the age of this team. If there's, losing my thought here. If you're to survey all these teams in the playoffs and say who's the team you don't want to face, some might say the Bucks, some might say the Knicks, some might say the Thunder. The Warriors are going to be on that list of teams you do not want to see in the playoffs, only because you have someone like Steph who will always give you a chance. You have great playoff championship performers in Al Horford and Draymond Green. You have one of the all-time great playoff players in Jimmy Butler, who we call, again, playoff Jimmy. He's carried 2 Miami Heat teams to the NBA Finals. So there's always going to be that scare factor with the Warriors there. The scare factor for me, though, as a Warrior fan, is what we saw last year. If one of these guys goes down, this team's in trouble. And I think when you talk about the boost that this team got when Jimmy Butler got here, I do think that, yes, Jimmy made the team better. But I also think he just injected so much life into this team. When before Jimmy got here during the Dennis Schroeder era, it was rough watching some of these games. The offense was unexciting. The defense wasn't really good. The mood around the station was terrible, Dan. It was just like, oh my God, football's done. We got to talk about this Warrior team for the next 3 months. Like, the feeling we had watching some of these Warrior games, it was like watching Giants baseball, just not fun. And Jimmy got here and it just injected all of this life. And I feel like just the mental boost that Jimmy's arrival provided for this team played a big part in why they played so well down the stretch. It's just they got new life. They got new juice in their legs, and that showed in the schedule. That I think they call that a honeymoon period, Dan, where everything's going well, everyone's happy. The honeymoon period has come to an end. Now, I'm not saying things are turbulent right now, but that initial, that new team smell, that new teammate smell, it's not there anymore. Now it's a new year. There's more film on these guys together. They're all a little bit older. It's not the same fun atmosphere that this team had post Jimmy Butler trade. That doesn't mean it can't be bad, but it's I don't think that stretch is the same then as it's going to be now.
Yeah, I don't think it's the film. Everybody knows who these guys are and they know how they play. It's just that, again, it's the age thing and you can't get around it. And Steve Kerr knows it and everybody knows it. It's amazing to me is how smart Kerr is, how smart Dunleavy is. So there's got to be a method to their madness. They know that the days of them actually walking down a team like Oklahoma or even Houston this year or Dallas or Minnesota, I don't think it's going to happen. But the reason why they do this is that this is their best chance of being relevant and getting butts in the seat. But they know to a man that if they were to be honest with themselves, come on, man, how the hell do you think we're going to get through 82 games and then play 2 months of basketball with these guys? So there's something method to the madness here. I don't know what the end game is. Maybe it's about selling tickets. Maybe it's all about finances. But as far as, come on, these are smart people. And it's a team that just, there's no way in hell that I can envision this team, first of all, being healthy. Players are going to go down with injuries.
Over the grind of an NBA season, absolutely. They're 36, 36, 38, 39 years old. Your body's going to break down at some point during the season. I mean, Jimmy Butler has never played a full season in years in the NBA. And he had a couple weeks off last year before coming to the Warriors, which probably helped him be fresh when he did get here. He's hopefully not going to have that kind of a layoff this year. What do you think Mike Dunleavy, general manager of the Warriors, what do you think he thinks about the age narrative? I have some sound of what Dunleavy said here.
Why don't we get to a caller first before we hear from Dunleavy?
Okay, yeah, I do want to hear what Dunleavy had to say.
Jesus.
He joined us. I was trying to set something up there, but yeah, he joined Steiny Guru yesterday.
All right, let's get into Rod, who's hanging out in Vallejo and wants to talk about Butler. What's going on, Rod? Welcome aboard, buddy.
Hey, great show, guys. What you don't remember is Jimmy Butler didn't perform well against Minnesota.
He did not.
But you forgot he got undercut in that last game with Houston and took a bad fall and had a hip pointer. And he played anyway with that bad injury. So you should. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah. But I think that Rod, goes into our overall concern here of just this is a very injury-prone team. Injuries are part of the game, but I think the Warriors are just a little bit more susceptible to the injuries than teams like that you're going to be going against, like the Timberwolves or the Thunder. Younger, more athletic teams, younger bodies are less likely to get hurt.
Yes, but he was playing good prior to that injury.
Mm-hmm.
Good call,
That's
Roddy.
all I wanted to say.
Yeah, you make a good point.
Rod's point's absolutely correct.
That we do forget that he did take that serious spill, and there was, I didn't even know if he was going to get up.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to take that into account. And, I'm glad he reminded me because I completely forgot about that, Rod. So I'm thankful that you reminded me. But, again, it's just difficult when you're this old. You can do it for a game. It's sort of like, a Major League Pasta. It's like Major League. I remember Jamie Moyer. I had this conversation with him once just to bring it back to baseball. And he's like, I can still, as I get older, I can still rush it up there at 95 miles an hour. I can still give you my fastball. But when you get older and you become a pitcher in your late 30s or in your 40s, like a Bartolo clone, you just can't do it as often.
You got to reinvent.
Well, you can't do it as often. I can throw it once in a while, but I can't do it like I once did, throwing it every other punch or every other pitch. So the point being is that I can have a good game. I could be Jimmy Butler of old, but if you want me to do that every other night or to have multiple games like that during a week, those days are in my rearview mirror. So you can fool people when, Jimmy Butler can dial it back, or you can talk about Draymond Green having a triple-double, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, did you see what he... But if you expect him to do that over multiple games throughout the course of the season, or do that multiple times throughout the week as he once did in his late 20s or even in his early 30s,
not happening.
Jason's hanging out. Did you want to say something?
No, let's go to Jason.
All right, Jason's hanging out in Oakland. Welcome to the show, Jace. What's up, buddy?
I want to ask you guys. I heard you speaking a little bit earlier talking about the Warriors are susceptible of getting injured during the season, which every team is. But second half of last season, the Warriors they was the second best team in the league when we got Jimmy Butler. We was the second best team in the league in the second half of the season after the All-Star break. And another thing I want to ask you guys is that if the Warriors make the playoffs with Steph Curry on the team, you don't think we have a chance of winning 2 series if Steph is not as injured? If Jimmy Butler is healthy, Draymond Green is going into the playoffs healthy, you saying that Warriors don't have a chance of winning?
Jason, that's not what I'm saying. Jason, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you have Steph, you always have a chance. That is true. And we did speak on the schedule.
I heard you say that.
Yeah, so we did speak on the schedule. Again, I think that, yes, they had a good stretch there, but I don't know if that's a stretch that is repeatable over the length of an 82-game season. I think over the length of an 82-game season, when you have older bodies, like Jason, I'm north of 30. My body doesn't move as much as well as it used to anymore, and I'm not even an NBA player. Like these guys, yes, they're in better shape, but there's a lot of mileage on these guys' legs. Steph and Draymond have played 1 billion minutes. Al Horford's 39. He's played 1 billion minutes too. Jimmy Butler, same thing. The older you are in this league, the more susceptible you are to injuries than younger teams like the Rockets or the Timberwolves or the Thunder. Can we agree on that?
You're right. You're 1,000% right on that. But my whole point is, if you get to the playoff with a healthy Steph Curry, a healthy Jimmy Butler, a healthy Draymond Green, Pods is hitting his stride, Moody is playing better, and if we got Kuminga and he's not traded, and Kerr find a way to get him in a rotation more, I'm saying that the Warriors got a chance of winning the championship. Michael Jordan made everybody around on the Bulls greater. Steph Curry made everybody around on the Warriors greater. You take those 2 players off the team, the team is going to be mediocre. But with Steph on the team going into the playoffs, and if Steph is healthy, hopefully he's healthy, and the whole squad is healthy, we got a chance of winning the championship. Because Steph is a – go ahead.
No, sorry, I don't mean to cut you. I'll say this, Jason, and thanks for your call there. The thing is, Jason, I love what you're saying. Everything what you're saying is accurate, but you said the word if a lot. There's a lot of ifs that need to go right. Again, everything that Jason said is possible. It is possible that they could be healthy 100% going into the playoffs. If you have Steph, you have a chance. They are going to be the team that no one wants to face. Even healthy, though, Dan, I don't think they would have beaten the Thunder in the playoffs, in the West Finals last year. Yes, the Warriors did do well against the Thunder last year, but 2 things to consider. A, the Warriors did not play the Thunder post-Jimmy Butler trade. And B, the Warriors played 5 minutes of basketball against the Thunder with Chet Holmgren on the court. Chet Holmgren's a pretty big piece of the Thunder. He's a big part of why they win basketball games. So it's not inconceivable for what Jason said to come together and happen. The Warriors can, those Jordan Bulls teams, which I think the Warriors are older than that 98 Last Dance team, it's possible to happen. It's just the odds are slim. And I'll say this, if they do pull it off, if they do somehow go all the way and win it this year, it might be one of the more, if not the most, just improbable championships in Bay Area history. And I don't mean that in a doubting kind of way. I mean it in just, when you consider the what's laid out with this team right now, it's going to be really, really hard.
I think it's going to be one of the most improbable victories. Forget about Bay Area, but in the history of the NBA.
I still hope they win, obviously. I'm still rooting for them to win as a Warrior fan, but it's hard not to be skeptical of the situation. I'd love to be proven wrong on it, though.
Yeah, I think the one thing that, listen, this time of the year, we have no idea. I hope I'm wrong. And I mean, listen, we're just sitting here talking into a microphone. They got to go out and play. We don't know how this team is going to gel. We don't know the personality of this team. Best case scenario is that Jonathan Kuminga finds his role and becomes the guy that when they can't go back to back, that he picks up the spark and he meshes well. You're going to somebody on that team that is not 30 years of age is going to have to pop. Like Moody, Podziemski, somebody is going to have
Kuminga.
Trace Jackson Davis, obviously Jonathan Kuminga, but you're going to, if it's going to work, guys, for those of you that believe the Warriors can get back there, or you see some scenario where the Golden State Warriors get back to a deep run of the postseason and maybe an NBA championship, then I think you'd have to admit that it's going to be obviously the foundation of these older players, but you're going to be reliant on some young legs. Who those legs, I don't know. If Podziemski, he cannot afford to go through that spell like he did last year where he sort of disappeared for 2 months and couldn't shoot
He
threes.
really benefited from the arrival of Jimmy Butler. I think
So did Moody.
Yeah. Moody is especially. I feel very good about Moses Moody. I think the contract that he got last year, I think he's going to play better than that contract.
Here's the thing, Sam, that I want to add is like when we think about older players, and this is what I want the audience to think about as well. We always think about it from an offensive standpoint. Like Jimmy Butler's not the same
Scoring,
guy.
yeah.
Steph Curry isn't the same guy. What's the one issue that the Warriors have had throughout the years, the last couple of years? It's on the ball defense. And what does that tell you? What should that tell everybody? It's that you're older. Because the first thing that you get exploited, it's not offensively, because offensively, you know where you want to go. Your first step can still beat a guy.
And the
rim.
shooting's always going to be there in regards of Steph Curry.
But the one thing that when you're older and you're trying to stay in front of somebody, that's why the Warriors are always, their on-the-ball defense always suffers, because these guys, it happened to Klay Thompson, used to be the best two-way player. He and Kawhi Leonard, right? They wrote the book. The first signal and the first omen to me was when he was getting beat off the bounce. And you're like, whoa, what happened to Klay Thompson? And suddenly he became somebody that was a liability on the defensive end. You would never think of uttering that about Klay Thompson back in the day.
But after his knee went, yeah.
And so that's the big concern. It's not necessarily in the offensive end. It's how teams now just puncture the Warriors. And then once they break that first line of defense, well, then it's about your rim protection. Are you going to be that reliant on Al Horford protecting the rim? Are you that reliant on the likes of Draymond Green?
Quentin Post.
Because once you get to the rim, well, now I have the ability to kick to threes, but it's the defense, I think, is really where you need to sort of focus. And that you always hear about the Warriors being not good on the ball defenders. And that, to me, is the first thing that jumps out at me when you talk about an old basketball team.
Yeah, and I think, and you talk about the rim protection there. I think it's going to be a big year for Quentin Post to take that step forward, too. He's a guy, I love Post as the stretch five, the guy who can widen that floor out, open up the paint a little bit, hit that three, clear a lane for Jonathan Kuminga on offense. But my concern with Quentin Post is going to be on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
He's a wiry dude. He's very tall, very lanky, doesn't have a lot of beef on him there.
No, it's
big athletic centers are going to be able to kind of knock him out of the way.
No, it's the quickness. The beef is fine. He just can't move. And there's a reason why you get drafted at 52. Teams know that. Like, you're a slow white dude. Sorry.
Yeah, he's a smart player. I think he fits well in the Warriors system, but he needs to take a leap here in this second year when he's spelling Al Horford here. But again, Dan, you talk about the defensive side of the ball for whatever it's worth, and we can leave it off on this. Scoring-wise, Warriors were 8th in the NBA in points allowed per game. 110 points per game allowed last year. That's 8th most in the NBA. So there is still some defensive ingenuity here. You also still do have an elite defender in Draymond Green on this team, and a lot of underrated defenders. We criticize Brandon Podziemski a lot. I don't think Podziemski's a great defender, but he can be useful at times on defense. So the pieces are there. As Jason said, if they stay healthy, it's going to be a scary Warriors team.
Let's leave on a high note. Let's get the people excited. My goodness. Warriors can do this thing. Why not? Why not?
You know what? They'll be in the playoffs. They're going to be a playoff team, and they're going to be the playoff team that no one...
Right?
If you could get them, let's say this, Dan, you and I, we both said that they're still a play-in team, but if they could get
Take us out, Foster.
If they could get that 6th seed, though, and get that week off before the play-in and come into the playoffs fresh against whoever, Again, no one in the West is going to want to see the Warriors in the playoffs next year. That I can guarantee you.
Pasta. I'm trying to get these people excited, and he's got Red Fox at age 82 just waddling out.
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Come on, Pasta. Oh, my goodness. That's how we're going out. That's how we're going out. Sanford and Son. I guess they are old. That'll do it for us. Sam Lubman, Dan Avone, and Pasta. Until next week. So long, everybody.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-351-4596. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-351-4596.